What's going on, people? Welcome to Throwdown, episode 70. I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I'm joined by Emilio Lopez. Yeah! Chris Seeley.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
And we got two special guests tonight. First is the old school Throwdown crew member, one of the originators, Ricky's son one, Michael Crawford. What's going on, man?
What's good? Good to be back.
And our very special guest tonight, Mr. BrokenGamezHD himself, Kenneth Johnson. Kenneth, man, how are you, bro?
What's going on, Tony? I'm good. What's going on, everybody?
All right, thank you for being on tonight, man. I really appreciate this.
Yeah, no problem. Glad to be here.
Yeah, and I got to give you props, man. You're like you just finished doing a podcast with our boy, Super Deformed Games, and now you're doing this. It's crazy, right, man.
Yeah, just doing it. Might as well, right?
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm like, all right, man, I'll do it. You know, it's just talking with friends and stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Before we start, I want to give a special thank you, shout out to Danny Pena. You know, from Gamer Tag Radio being on last week. Great show. A lot of insight from this dude. Really heavy insight. Like that was a very inspirational show. People were telling me about it like off air. It's like, yo, man, that was really deep and stuff. So I'm glad everybody enjoyed that. And hopefully we'll have them on again. And we do plan to have Paris Lily from Gamer Tag Radio on in the future as well. So definitely look forward to that. Before we do the interview here with Ken, Rico, what have you been up to, bro? What's going on with your gaming world?
My gaming world has been unlocked. That Persona 4 Golden. I'm on my fifth playthrough. Fifth playthrough. 260 hours. 98%. Gaming world has been unlocked. That's just fucking stupid. Can you hear me though?
We're getting a little bit of echo.
Echo from me?
No, somebody said got their thing on.
Well, anyway, yeah, that's basically it. Other than that, just trying to finish this fucking One Piece. But gaming, it's just been Persona. I just want to get that platinum and move on with my life.
Man, you go deep with them fucking platinums, boy.
Man,
crazy.
I kind of regret trying to tackle this one.
Do you like the game at least?
Yeah, I do. I love it. It's a really great game. I can see why people are calling it the best Vita game and all that stuff.
Yeah, because I remember you were skeptical about that.
Yeah, I was. You know how turn-based games are in these days, but I'm trying to get into turn-based. So.
Good man. Good man.
Definitely a good choice.
Awesome. All right, so let's get right into it. All right, Ken. I want to go back, like before Broken Games, all of that. How did you get into gaming, man? Where did it all begin?
I think my parents. I think that's how far back you want me to go, right?
Yeah. Yep. Let's go.
It's like was in the womb.
They attached the controller to the to the belly button and everything, the umbilical cord. Yeah, my parents bought me a Super Nintendo. Started off with Super Mario, Donkey Kong, and yeah, it was a hit. It was a hit from there. So got real into gaming from there. Got the consoles that came after, and I was always passionate about it ever since. That's how I got into it.
What were some of the first games you played? Like which ones were like, oh shit, this is insane? Like which ones did you spend like an insane amount of time playing?
So yeah, started off with the typical that everybody else does, the Nintendo games, Super Mario, Donkey Kong. I would say what really, Super Mario Kart. What I would say what really got me into like gaming, like changed, but like with the really pivotal games for me in gaming was probably like Super Mario RPG, Legend of the Seven Stars.
Oh shit.
Met the first Metal Gear Solid 1 on the PS1. That changed my complete view of games. I never knew games could be like that. As far as narrative, story, and just something really deep. It blew my mind. I don't remember what age I was when I played it, but it completely blew my mind that a game could be like this deep story on some type of like movie type level. So, yeah.
Yeah, you bring me back with that Metal Gear stuff, man. I remember like this what fucked me up with that game, right? When you get out the you land in the docking bay and you're walking around, right?
Yeah.
The credits were still rolling while you were playing. It's like, whoa, are you fucking kidding me? This is crazy.
Yeah, and it was the first game I feel like that made you like accountable for your actions. It was the first game that I played that would give you a boss, because before then it was like bosses are bad, they're a pure evil. It was the first game that made you kill a boss and then made you feel like the worst fucking person for doing it, because they would then replay the whole life and give you this whole exposition on the boss's life, how they were abused as a child, they may have had kids and their parents. I'm like, why would you tell me all of this after I killed them in cold blood? So it was the first game that made you feel like responsible and accountable, so it just like blew my mind.
Yeah, you're right about it. I didn't think about it, but you're right. It's like after you kill him, it's like you get to learn all about him. It's like, damn, man, that's fucked up. Oh man. After that, obviously, we got into 3D graphics and all that, PS1, all that. What'd you think about that when gaming moved into another dimension, literally?
Yeah, PS1 games that I played, of course, like I said, Metal Gear, Crash, Spyro, a lot of the platformers. I got Tomb Raider. I used to play. One thing that stands out for some reason is the demos that they always used to give you.
Yeah.
Yeah, the old magazines. I did become a big Tomb Raider fan around that time, especially Tomb Raider 2. I think that game really changed a lot of things for me during the PS1 era. What else? During the PS1 era. Yeah, I think I was really into a lot of platformers and mainly adventure games at that time.
Yeah, I mean that was like the mainstay of that era too, so it kind of makes sense too. What about RPGs? PS1 had a lot of RPGs, especially JRPGs.
Oh yeah, Legend of the Dragoon.
Nice.
Final Fantasy VII, of course. Was it Legend of Mana? I think it was. Yeah, that was one that wasn't so popular, but I definitely liked it. Legend of Mana, Dragoon, Final Fantasy VII, and yeah, I think there was a few others that I definitely played. I remember I played I know it's not an RPG, but I played Soul Reaver, stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a great game too, man. Mm-hmm. And Legend of Mana, that was was that a sequel to Secret of Mana? It was, right?
I really can't remember.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember a friend of ours used to play Secret of Mana all the time on the Sega CD and stuff. And so I want to ask you where, how did you ever think about getting into gaming, around this time, or did that come later?
Getting into gaming.
Gaming industry stuff,
Oh, gaming industry stuff? Nah, I didn't think about getting into a gaming industry until 2008. Well, not even 2008. Probably later. It was more recently, probably 2010, I would say, because 2008 is when I started my first YouTube channel. Because I was just in my dorm room. I was still in college. It was my first year in college, and I was just bored in my dorm room one day, and I saw people on YouTube playing video games, and I'm like, I'm good at video games. I don't see what's so hard about this. So, just like everybody else, I started out with the terrible webcam, no idea of editing, video and audio or video, production level or anything like that. But I, started from those really bad quality beginnings, and that's when I learned for some reason, because honestly I'll tell people I don't really feel like some people call me a big YouTuber. I don't really consider myself a big YouTuber, and I don't really see the real attraction to me as people subscribing to my channel, because I can't listen to none of my videos.
Oh, really?
I don't listen to none of my videos. I barely even replay my videos after I make them. Some people, and that's why it doesn't bother me when some people even say "Oh, you're boring. You don't really put energy into your videos." I'm like, listen, I can't watch my videos either, so you're not hurting my feelings, right? And my thing is on YouTube, I've always been myself. Some people want you to be exciting and bounce off the wall for their entertainment. I'm like, listen, I'm not doing that shit. I'll tell you right now, I'm not here to entertain you. I'm here to play games, and if you like to watch me play games, then that's what you're here for. But I'm not going to be one of those YouTubers that's going to be acting all jolly and happy and bouncing off the walls just because you think that's entertaining. Cool for you. Better go watch somebody else, because I'm not about to be like acting out like I'm on speed just for your entertainment. So
yeah, you got to be true to yourself, man. Dude, I totally feel I cannot stand that shit. He's just like, hey guys, look at my YouTube channel. It's like, dude, slow the fuck down.
You're not like that in real. Nobody's like that in real life. That's why I find that shit so fake.
Yeah, could you imagine if somebody was like that? If you punch him in the face,
yeah,
you wouldn't take that shit. Actually, I want to go back though. I want to ask you. Okay, so with the webcam, did you have it like behind you or something? Like, how did that work exactly?
The webcam, those webcam days. How did I do it?
Like, did you actually capture? Like, did you capture like footage directly from the screen? Like it was a video camera or something?
I think I did start out like that, and then I got a Dazzle. I don't remember if y'all remember the Dazzle. But it was a recorded for game. It recorded gameplay in SD, and at the time you was like, "Man, this looked good." You was like, "This looked good." Now looking back, you realized how shitty it looked. And then I remember when I upgraded to the Hauppauge. I think that's what a lot of people made a move to the Hauppauge. It had HD quality, and I was like, and I got my first blue microphone, the Snowball, and I was like, this quality, this is good. I upgraded. So yeah, started with that SD, then went to HD with the Hauppauge, and improved some audio quality, and yeah, it's been going ever since.
Yeah, that's funny because you see how easy it is now to upload gameplay. It wasn't like that back then.
Yeah, definitely not.
All right, but so you started around 2010 officially. Like, what did it ever like hit you? It was like, hey, maybe I should really do this like full time and stuff, instead of it just being like a side thing.
Nah, I was never one of those that that was around the time of hype where a lot of people were trying to do YouTube full time and trying to make it big. I was never trying to make it big because, like I said, I was in college at the time, so I always wanted it to be like a side, just a thing I did on the side, a hobby that I was known for, and I wanted what I was studying in college for it to be my main thing. I just wanted this to be, a side thing. So yeah. And I don't think it was ever going to be dependable, or sustainable. And I think I was smart for doing that, because you see all the big people that was making money off of YouTube before, they're not doing so good right now. They're hurt.
Yeah, that's true. But when was the first time you started actually getting noticed by publishers and developers and stuff?
It was around the time when I started doing my Uncharted videos, and I was like really crude, and I always tell people right now, this is the nice guy you see now. I was terrible back then with just the way I talk to people. Some people deserve it. Like, I still talk to some people who deserve it now. Like, if you're an asshole, I'll call you an asshole in a minute. And I don't care who you are. But back then, if a developer put something in a game, I used to go to Twitter and just go completely fucking off. I think I've made multiple videos like cursing out Naughty Dog, just say crazy things to them. And their community manager, Arnie Meyer, he followed me on Twitter back then. He still is following me now. I think he like knows who I am, but kind of has like bad impressions of me, because I cursed him the fuck out like so many times, especially in direct message. I'm pretty sure I cursed him out, said some crazy things to him. So yeah, that was that. But he was the first like person from the industry to like ever follow me back, and just so happened that I cursed him the hell out too. So yeah, that was the first time.
Oh man, how did it grow after that? Like you started getting like review. Like, what did that feel like when you got your first review copy? What was that like?
My first like review copy of a big game was actually last year.
Really?
Yeah, because I never was using my power of my channel up until recently. So yeah, my first review copy of a big game was I got Tomb Raider a week early, but it was something else. I can't remember exactly what it is, but Microsoft sent me Tomb Raider. They sent me Ori and the Blind Forest. A few people have bought me some, given me some, bought me some games, gave me some free games and things like that. So yeah, I think that was it.
Yeah, I guess I didn't face you as much. Like, all right, I'm just getting some free shit now.
Yeah. I've gotten a lot of like hardware hardware to review last year. Also, I started getting a lot of I got some things from Logitech, keyboards, mouses, just different things. Some headsets. I got one from Astro Games. They make the portable monitors. They sent me something free. I got a lot of free stuff last year.
That's good. The other thing was obviously E3 and things like that. Like, what was the first big event you went to?
I went to PAX like 5 years ago or something. Yeah, that was my first event, PAX 5 years ago, and I never went back to PAX since. It was good. I just never went back since. I'm not sure how it is now, but when I went, they actually had some pretty big games there, right, at the time, and we know that that might not be how it is now because developers seem to be saving more of the big games for E3 and not so much PAX. So I don't know if PAX gets as many big games as they do now, because I know when I went, I think it was Gears. It was either one of the Gears Awards, at PAX. I don't know if like Microsoft would do the same thing at a PAX now. They would probably save that for E3. So yeah, it was a really cool event. I definitely want to go back. Maybe next year to see how it is. But yeah, and then last year I went to E3, which was amazing. Yeah.
Was that your first time going?
Yeah, that was my first time going to E3. Yeah.
All right, man. I'm assuming you knew about E3 and wanted to go for years, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. And I don't think I could have picked a better first E3. It was just like fucking bombshells everywhere. I was like, this is the best. If I would have went the year before, I would have been pissed off because that one was pretty bad to me. But this year, last year was amazing.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you this right now. I don't think that E3 is gonna be top for another 10 years at minimum. I mean, it was like a fanfic, basically. What game do you want released? It's coming to you. So it was fucking ridiculous, Mm-hmm. And I'm assuming you met a lot of cool people out there.
Yeah, definitely met like a lot of people, a few YouTubers, few fans. Yeah, it was interesting because I never like even here in like Brooklyn, when I'm just walking around, I run into people that know me and recognize me, and it's always weird when they don't treat me like, I don't like to be treated other than a normal person. There's nothing special about me. I just play games. Like, don't treat me like I'm special or anything. Don't be amazed by me. I don't like that type of shit. That shit is weird. Just treat me like I'm a normal fucking person. There's nothing special about me. There was this one time I was in a store, and it threw me off, but I like the way this guy approached me. He was like, "Oh, are you picking up the new Mortal Kombat?" And I was like, "Who are you? Like, why are you asking me? Like, why are you asking me this? I don't even fucking know you." But he just asked me, "Am I picking up the new Mortal Kombat?" Because he knew like me from YouTube. I didn't realize that at first, but then it hit me. So yeah, stuff like that happens, and people just say, "Oh shit, like I know you. You have a YouTube channel and stuff like that." So yeah, E3 was cool. Networked, did a lot of met a lot of cool people.
Yeah, I mean, that's what E3 is about, man. If you really want to grow your channel and stuff, man, that's the place to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it was overwhelming at first. Too many fucking people. A lot of walking. But it was good.
Yeah, it's interesting you said a lot of people because we've been to E3 a couple of times. It was not like that before, man. Like last year,
there was at least maybe 2,000 or 3,000 or way more people there than there was in the year before. That's because every single booth, depending on the size, got a bunch of free tickets to let in some of their fans. So like if you, depending on how big the booth is, they would get more tickets to go. So that's actually kind of how I got in last year.
Yeah, it's crazy. In my situation, it's like I'm trying to, get work done. It's just all these people there. It's like shit, But at the same time, it's also cool too. Let the fans into E3. Let them experience all that. So it's both. It's good and bad. At the same time. The next thing I want to ask you is this. Here's the thing. I mean, I've been watching you ever since Riku introduced me to you a couple months ago, right? But the video you did that struck me the most was one you did about maybe 3 weeks ago where you talked about you know, it was related to Sony versus Microsoft, right? Which is kind of bullshit. But anyway, you talked about, you know, sales numbers of how people perpetuate like, oh yeah, they're lying about sales numbers. You know, so I wanted to ask you just basically, you know, what do you think about like, you know, the current state of the industry when it comes to fanboys and this fucking console war shit?
I mean, like, when it's you know, just in moderation, I don't think it's bad, because last generation definitely wasn't as bad as it is now. It's just been taken from the things I've seen. I could never imagine happening if someone would have told me you know, it would have been going on. I would have not believed you. I would have called you a liar. I mean, it's just crazy things that I don't even want to mention that people have been doing in the you know, in the name of their favorite console, you know, in the name of waving the fanboy flag. So right now, I don't think it's good, because people need to tone it down a little bit. And it's just, I've like just been backing, you know, backing up and backing away from certain people who perpetuated and everything, because my thing is, I like to interact with people who have different opinions and different views than me. I don't like to talk to somebody who agrees with everything I say, because I might as well talk to my fucking self.
Yeah.
So that's why I, you know, on my podcast, I be going out the way to find people who, you know, have different views. But the problem is, so there's so many people that have different views that are like mentally unstable, it seems, that you can't have an intelligent, you know, civilized conversation with them, unfortunately. There's only a few of them who are like practical, down-to-earth people. So I don't know what's happened this generation. I don't know if it's something in the water, but it's just been way worse. The fanboyism has just been way worse than any other generation I've seen. So, you know, it just needs to be, you know, toned down a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, like you pointed out, it's like these dudes are like literally saying, "Oh yeah, Sony's lying to you about their numbers," and it's like they legally can't do that, guys. Like seriously, they're gonna get in fucking trouble for doing that. But they believe it. They honestly believe all this shit, and they just like, oh, it's just funny. It's like Microsoft is always legit with their numbers, but Sony's lying, or vice versa. You know, it's like, which is it, guys? You know, which is it?
And like last generation, if there was like some type of, you know, debate regarding consoles, it would at least be two people with two different opinions, and then they would have facts to back it up. Why? Well, you believe this, you think this, this is why I think this is why I think this, and they would have some reports or articles last generation. Now all it is I think Sony or I think Microsoft is better because those are my feelings.
Yes.
That's all it is. Those are my feelings. Like, fuck your reports, fuck your numbers. Stop showing me numbers, stop showing me reports. I don't care about all that. I'm in my feelings and my emotions right now, and that's why they're better, because I'm emotionally invested. That's all it is now. And I don't know how that became, you know, okay, or when it became okay, but, you know, that's what it is now.
Yeah, I mean, the reason I'm just reacting that way is because that's not just relegated to video games. It seems like the whole culture is like that. These are my feelings and they're valid. It's like, can you back those feelings up? Why do you feel that way? What are the facts? No, I don't need facts. It's just my feeling. That doesn't fly with me. You know? So, and you see that in gaming now, but you see some ridiculous shit. And I've seen you on Twitter go back and forth with some crazy motherfucker. I've been in it too, man. It's like, we can't just like say, okay, you like that console, cool. Let's talk about the actual games. Nope, that shit is like gone now, you know. I think that shit started last generation, but it's really gotten bad now, and I don't know what the fuck it is. I really don't know.
Yeah, and I used to be like, I just have to, you know, do my service to the world and like correct this, you know, this misinformation that a lot of these ignorant people are just spitting. And I realized I can't do it. Like, I can't be the one to just spend my time, because I could be spending time doing so much more and other things. I can't be the one to just spend all this time and try to rid the world or rid this, you know, community of ignorance. You know, all I can do is play my games and, you know, speak the truth when I can, but I can't try to correct and clean up behind all these people that are just saying the wrong things and lying to their audience and everything like that. I can't do it.
Yeah, but at the same time, don't you think? Here's the thing: it's like if you have a platform, shouldn't you try to do something about it. It's like, okay, yeah, granted, it is kind of like a waste of time, but at the same time, if you have a platform, isn't there some responsibility in there too?
Yeah, that's why I felt like I had to do something, but I kind of like felt like it was pointless even when like to speak to those people directly that just won't get it and won't argue and just it's pointless arguing with them. To speaking to them directly is pointless.
Yeah.
But speaking to a general audience, yeah, it's definitely still a point in doing that, because those are practical people that will listen. But these crazy zealots, nah, it's no point in speaking to them.
Yeah, there really isn't. So I guess that's a good message. It's like, all right, you put the message out there for people who are willing to listen, and those don't want to listen, don't worry about them, because it's a waste of time.
The thing, going back to what you're saying, I was like, the one thing that does irk me about a lot of folks out there is that they rather not have a conversation. They rather just close the conversation before it even happens.
Mm-hmm.
Rather than trying to at least come to some sort of understanding as to where certain people are coming from. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got you.
It's like I think you weren't here for that or one of our shows, but we did this show which was like called Versus with a panel to panel, which is another podcast, and what was great about that show is that they had some grievances with us, but the thing is that we were able to come to an understanding and listen to each other's side of the conversation rather than just closing it off like, oh well, you're stupid,
Exactly.
Yeah, that shit doesn't serve anybody. I don't know why people don't want to talk to you. It's rather just shut you down or just scream at you, But all right. So besides that, what about the actual games industry itself? Do you see anything wrong with it right now? Because there's a lot of bullshit going on.
In the gaming industry in general, the release date thing, where developers just announcing release dates way too early for it doesn't really serve anybody any good, neither you, the developer, the publisher, or the gamer, to announce all these release dates, and you can't keep it. I hope episodic things don't become prevalent. I think Hitman is going through it. The Final Fantasy remake is going through it. I'm not a fan of that trend. I think those are I think that would be the main things that are bothering me in the gaming industry. I guess I do think we're better off this generation than the last. Other than that, I would say there's a lot of new IPs. I haven't been a big fan of a lot of new IPs this generation. I don't think they're great. I think like there's only been maybe 2 or 3 new IPs that I've really enjoyed. No, it's not. It's maybe a few more, like maybe 4 or 5. But I think a lot of new IPs are just like not delivering, especially with Ubisoft. Watch Dogs. I'm not getting The Division based on the beta.
So really? Yeah. Tell us a little bit about the Division beta, since that's like the hot thing right now.
I just feel like the game there's no fun in it. It has no soul. There's not really an identity. It just feels like there's no point. There's no real point in doing anything. The gameplay and the gunplay specifically just feels like it feels empty. I don't like shooters anymore where you don't feel the impact of what you're doing. Like when I shoot somebody and I just feel like I just shot if it feels like just target practice, then it feels empty. Like it might as well have just been a still bullseye, a still wooden bullseye. Then that's not enjoyable to me, right? One of the things, even though the Order 1886 gets a lot of flack, when you shoot somebody in that game, I feel like I just killed a real fucking person, right? In these other games, it's just like it's just target practice of just these people that don't even feel alive. It just feels like a dull, generic world in the Division. And yeah, it's a lot to say from the beta, but and some people say, oh yeah, it's a beta, but yeah, it's indicative of what's going to be going on in the rest of the game. If I'm not having fun with the combat in the beta, I highly doubt that's going to change in the full game. There's certain things that just don't change from a beta to the full game. Certain things just don't change.
Yeah. On that end, though, in a similar game, Destiny, how that one come off to you?
I hated Destiny. Like in the beta, because in the beta I liked Destiny because it was a small vertical slice of the game, of course, but then to me it was the increase in content that ruined that game for me from the beta, because I feel like a lot of the stuff that was in the full game was bullshit. That so I think the beta made the game seem balanced because there wasn't all this shit in there. Then when you got the full game, it was like, what is all this dog shit y'all put in the game? It felt repetitive. It didn't really feel like there was much to do. I just didn't like the whole setup of the game. I'm not into. I don't know. It just felt empty. I'm not into these abstract games. I think we talked about it in the other podcast, where there's not really a goal. There's not really a point to what you're doing. Even right now, Bungie doesn't know what direction they're going with Destiny. They were just like, we'll figure it out, on our way there. And now they're lost. They don't know what direction to go in now. So yeah, it was just one of those games where there's no end goal here. We're just gonna deal with it on the fly. And I liked it for 2 weeks, and then I traded it, and I'm like, this is trash.
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty into Destiny for about a month after it came out, and then I saw what it was. It was just endless grinding and all that. But not everybody, but like, you would always see at least half my friends on PSN always playing, and it was that way until like maybe Call of Duty came out. Then everybody stopped playing it. It's like, what kept you playing this shit for so long? Like, even now, I don't get it. And even people who keep playing it kind of don't understand. Like, the best answer I have is our friend Kari Randolph. He says he plays it because it's just like, what is it, Manny? What do you say exactly?
It's comfort food. And he uses it as like a chat room.
Wow.
Yeah.
With his buddies.
Yeah.
I think I saw an article yesterday, and it said that Destiny is asking all the people that dropped off of Destiny, why aren't they playing Destiny anymore? And I don't know what kind of answer they want, because, like you guys said, it's a grind fest, and when I talk to the people on my friends list on, why do they still play Destiny? And a lot of them just say, oh, I just want to collect all the guns, or I just want to collect all of this. And I'm like, so that's your motivation? Is it weird? It's weird. I guess it's just a collection type of thing, like how I collect trophies. It seems like that's their addiction over there, because I see some of them, they have how it had a little storage system in Destiny inside the little hub area. They would literally collect every gun in the game and max it out. I guess that's what they're doing. And then when Destiny adds more guns, they just go and collect more of them.
Yeah, because I know you were pretty big into Destiny for a while too,
Yeah, I was, until I got the platinum.
Yeah.
Until I got the platinum, I was like, all right, well, Riku's gone. That's all I was here. I was like, you're not gonna collect all the guns. I'm like, that's not platinum required. Bye.
Yeah, I'm not interested in games that's like just collect just to collect, and like, I like grinding if there's an end goal. Like, if there's an ultimate thing I'm working towards, I don't mind grinding at all. Right? You have to do a lot of grinding in RPGs, and like Bloodborne did a whole lot of grinding in that. Yeah. But I knew there was like something satisfying at the end. Like, there was just going to be this incredibly hard boss that when I finally beat the boss, I was going to feel super satisfied. Grinding in that feels great. Grinding to no end is pointless. And
so you didn't stay long enough for the raid, did you?
Sorry?
The raid,
Oh no, I got rid of that game way before any raids or anything like that. It's just.
See, and that's the sad part, because Bungie put a lot of money into that raid, and that was when the game first released, it only had one raid, and apparently that's still the best raid right now. I don't know how many raids they have now. I think they have like 4 or 5. I don't know, but everyone's like, oh, but the first one was just amazing, and then the second one I heard was half-assed. The third one I heard they don't even want to consider that a raid, and I don't even know what's going on from there on. I'm like, they put so much time into this 6-player co-op mode, and you only had one thing. I just honestly, it's just another rushed game.
I like. It's funny that you said that when you played Destiny, that the beta of Destiny, you were like, man, this got you amped to play. When I played it, I had the total opposite. I'm like, I know what this shit is. This is a grind fest. I'm not touching this fucking game. I saw it right away. I was like, what do you do? So what do you do in this game? You just kind of run around and shoot everybody.
The grinding part of Destiny, it didn't bother me that much because I felt a kind of resemblance to Borderlands, but it wasn't as big as Borderlands when it came to obviously the quantity and guns.
Mm-hmm.
But I still felt it, and it had a competitive mode attached to it, so that kind of kept me for a little while. And then the raid came, and that kept me for a little while. Also the platinum. But after you've done everything, you know how long it took for them to get that the next DLC out. I was waiting. I know some people just sat there and just collect all the guns and waited, but I didn't. I was like, I already put like 250 hours into this. I'm done.
Yeah, that was the other thing, man. It was just taking too much of my time. And you see, the thing is, if you're gonna grind, you gotta grind for a real goal. When I realize I'm just grinding for the hope I may get like light or some shit, I'm like, okay, that's it. I'm done, man. Getting this fucking gun, one gun isn't worth it. Especially when I see my friends get it. Yeah, like especially when I see my friends getting this gun like nothing as a regular drop, and I'm there grinding just on the hope I may get it. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm hoping that this isn't becoming a theme as far as games go, where essentially they just kind of drop you in these grind fests and use those as artificial ways to kind of to extend gameplay. I mean, gameplay or gameplay time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm hoping that's not the new thing. How like before it was those
And I heard Division is supposed to be like that too. Everyone I know that likes the Division is like, oh, it's just like Destiny. I'm like,
yeah.
Oh well, that doesn't sound right to me. Or or the other thing was, you remember you have those kind of like arena battle games, which they have no actual single player. They're just, oh, hey, you dropped you in this room and you have robots and all kinds of other things to fight with. That's it.
Yeah, kind of. I don't know. Well, if Destiny, I mean, if the Division's like Destiny, that could be a problem. I don't know about that. All right, the last thing I want to ask you this: I don't know if you saw all that bullshit that was happening in the games industry about 2 years ago. With journalists, telling gamers they're dead and all that bullshit. Did you ever pay attention to that? And if so, what'd you think?
Journalists were telling gamers they were dead?
Oh, you missed something. So I'll just, the whole GamerGate thing. Did you miss out on that?
Oh, I was there when GamerGate was going on, but it was like so much confusion about what GamerGate was exactly about. So it started out with journalists telling gamers they're dead. Like, what was that?
I mean, I'm gonna give you just a too long didn't read version. Basically, after this thing happened with this chick Zoe Quinn, she was like a game developer who had slept with a couple of like journalists and stuff.
Right, I heard about that. Yeah,
people got pissed off over that, and then GamerGate proper started when it was 14 sites almost on the same day had similar articles all about gamers are dead. You don't need to cater to gamers. These people are done. Move on. And to me, I'm like, our first episode, because here's the thing. Throwdown's been around for a while, right? But we actually relaunched it with a new #1. Our first episode was about this because, to me, I'm like, hold on. You're telling people to read your shit that they're dead, basically, And it was a whole big thing about that.
They were trying to kill the term gamer.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they felt that there's all these negative connotations that go with it. Especially those situations where some people are getting harassed and some people are doing this and that, and that's what they were trying to get rid of because it's now become like an asshole term, at least in their opinion.
Yeah, obviously there was a big backlash. People didn't like their identity being taken from them, and all this shit happened. So, did you like really miss all that? Because that's interesting.
I just know it of GamerGate had evolved into this thing about feminine equality, because that's what it turned into, right?
Not really. That's the thing. They tell you, like the gaming journalists, that's what they tell you. They tell you it's about a bunch of misogynist dudes who don't want women in gaming. It's not about that. It was really about, we don't like the way you're trying to tell us what kind of games to play, what kind of people you want us to be, that sort of stuff. Like Polygon and Kotaku write shit like that all the time, trying to make people feel bad, you know?
But then it kind of evolved into different sects where it's like, because of obviously when you have things like that and there's no actual leadership or no focus,
yeah,
everybody starts going in all kinds of different directions.
Yeah, it was a huge mess. Like, I never considered myself part of that, but I kind of started not talking about it as much when it was like, guys, you don't know what the fuck you're doing. You're just a rabble now, you know? But
exactly.
It's crazy, though. You know, I see that still to this day when you read these articles where they kind of talk down to gamers. It's like, if you're a gaming journalist, you should love gaming, right? And it always struck me as weird, you know? Like, even last year where Polygon, they had like a preview for Guitar Hero, and the dude was like, you know, I don't even, this read like a fucking parody. Dude was like, oh, I don't even like guitar games. I don't even like rock music. I just came to this event so I could eat the food and talk about Filipino politics. I'm not making this up. He actually wrote this. You know, it's like, no one takes you guys seriously. And I guess, you know, the reason I want to talk about this is because it segues into, you know, YouTube, because I feel now that game developers and publishers are taking YouTubers more seriously than actual game journalists. You know, like you see like YouTubers and stuff being quoted on boxes and stuff. You know, so what are your thoughts about that? The fact that it's all shifting from gaming journalists to actual gamers that do this shit because they love it.
Yeah, like it's definitely we've definitely seen like the power is being taken from this small, I guess, class of people who are professional journalists and on the big sites and everything like that, like GameSpot and IGN. It's that we definitely have more power now, and you know, I think it's good because we're not, you know, we're not connected to, we can't be swayed, right, or influenced by anything. The only thing we really care about is, you know, we have ourself in mind. So if we think a game is shit, we're gonna say it's shit. You know, we don't feel any obligation or, you know, any loyalty to any of these, you know, developers really on their games for the most part. And, you know, we're the gamers. Oftentimes we play more games than these gaming journalists themselves. So, you know, we deserve just as much as or more than they do.
Yeah, you know, I got a story for you. People, I'm pretty sure I've told this on air before, but it's just, it tells you what's going on with the industry. So the first big gaming event I ever attended was an EA event a few years ago, right? And the showcase game was Fuse. I don't know if you remember Fuse.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, yeah. We're not gonna get into Fuse, but anyway, so I'm there playing it, right? And it was, you know, it's a squad-based game or whatever. So they paired me up with 3 other guys, right? Like, I'm talking about big name journalists. I'm not gonna name any names, so it was big guys there, right? And I found it odd that I'm carrying the whole squad the whole time. These dudes kept dying and shit. I'm like, what's going on here? Because in my mind, like maybe stupidly so, I believe that to be a gaming journalist, you had to be really, really good at video games. You had to be like a top player. That event opened my eyes. These dudes would just chill out, eat their fucking food, and not even touch the games. And then the next day, they'd have a whole written thing because, as I learned later, they would give you a kit that would tell you all about the game. It's like, damn, I don't even need to play this shit. So it really opened your eyes to, you know, like a gaming journalist and like a real gamer. Like, okay, and the thing, this is why I, technically speaking, I am a gaming journalist. I don't call myself that. I'm a games writer because I'm not breaking any news and shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm not, you know, like Walter Cronkite. I'm just a regular guy. That's how I see it. And it's just interesting how these events always show it off. These guys do not know what the fuck they're doing when it comes to gaming.
That's why I don't know why people put gaming journalism, journalists, you know, like the ones from these big publications on a pedestal. Like when someone tells me, well, somebody said it from GameSpot, I'm like, okay, a regular fucking person with an opinion just like me.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
the only difference is that the guy gets paid for what he does. The thing is that, here's the thing. Obviously, you don't need to be a good gamer to be a games journalist for one reason. your main job is to write. Your job is not to be good at games.
You definitely.
What you at least need to do though is identify what fucking game you're playing. Like when that what was it, a couple of months ago, the dude that called Uncharted 2, Uncharted 4.
Yeah. Classic.
Yeah.
See, that's sad.
Yeah. Go ahead, Ken. What were you saying before?
Yeah, you definitely don't have to be good. You know, because what they really look for is they look for more if you have a basic knowledge and if you can write, and I guess if you can speak, more than if you're good at games or if you have deeper knowledge of games. So that's why when these people tell me, well, so and so said it, I'm like, being a game journalist is not like becoming the elite of the elite. It's not like something they only let the most knowledgeable gamers do. It's not like that. It's, you know, the requirements are not that crazy. You don't have to be it's not like they're esports players or anything.
Yeah.
and they're not like gaming historians. They're just regular people who can write, speak, and know at least some about video games. So that's why, you know, people need to stop putting them on a pedestal and stop weighing reviews, you know, so much. Because I'm like, I tell people all the time, a review is an opinion from a stranger. You don't know these dudes. Have you ever had a conversation with them to know, you know, them any different from a random person on the street? If you ran into a random person on the street and they told you a game or a movie was garbage, would you believe them? You don't fucking know them. So why are you just randomly believing this random person who says a game is bad or good because they're hired? You still don't fucking know them. They're a stranger. And I don't take opinions from strangers. I would I weigh an opinion of somebody I actually know on YouTube or in real life than a gaming journalist that I've never fucking met before. So
yeah, I mean, that's exactly what I do. I write game reviews all the time. I haven't read another professional's review in years because I don't know these people. If I'm going to read a review, it's from a buddy of mine or somebody that I trust. You know, I'm glad you said that because that's 100% true. As a matter of fact, hey Brian, how are you over there? Say something, man. Brian's mute right now, but yeah, there you go.
I'm doing good, thanks. How about yourselves?
Yeah, I'm good, man. The reason I want to bring you in real quick is because, see, Brian, he trusts me even though he doesn't agree with me on most games because he knows me. Like, if he knows I don't like something, he knows, hey, he may like it. Right, Brian?
Oh yeah. Like, I know what kind of games Tony likes, and I know what kind of games Tony dislikes. So by that, I can get a good understanding of how he thinks depending on a certain product. Like, for example, he said, let's say, random example, because Tony doesn't like FPS games. So if you were to say, hey, I like Destiny, then it's like, okay, Tony doesn't like FPS games. Destiny is an FPS. I am rather uncertain about Destiny, so Destiny might not be the type of FPS that I'm after. And lo and behold, I didn't touch it because I didn't like it. You know, so it really does pay off to understand the person who's quote unquote reviewing something. Like, for example, Yahtzee. Like, I understand the type of person that he is, and whenever he gives a review, I understand what he's saying through it. You know, the same thing with Jim Sterling to a certain extent, and even Angry Joe.
Yeah, you know, Jim Sterling is a perfect example because that's a guy I do not trust based on his reviews. Like, okay, this is a guy I'm not really going to listen to. You know, I could base my opinion kind of around that. Like, okay, I know where you're coming from, you know. By the way, Brian, how's the move going? Did you move yet?
Yeah, I moved. I'm just off camera because my PC is not set up yet, so I'm on my MacBook at the moment.
Yeah, and Brian, since I got you, I'm going to call you out because you wanted to say something to Kenneth here. What's this about, Brian? We got a guest here talking shit. What's going on?
I was just biding my time, you know, as I do, you know. Well, the first thing that I had the issue with is that he's like a couple minutes ago he said that YouTubers.
He's not an arbitrary person.
Okay, BrokenHD said that YouTubers are not corrupt as other people. It's like YouTubers are people too, you know. Just like fanboys, they are people. People can be corrupted either way. You know, like, I've seen YouTube channels go down certain routes and just end up being gigantic advertising platforms. I'm not going to name names, but it's very obvious that someone that we all know here has been doing that recently with Far Cry Primal. I'm not going to say who, but it's so obvious, it's unbelievable.
I must have missed
So yeah.
this. That's a good question though, because remember when Ken, I don't know if you heard about this, when Microsoft it turned out they were paying YouTubers and stuff to give positive reviews and stuff. So what do you think about that? The fact that YouTubers, even though most of them are real people, they can be corrupted too.
Yeah, they can be. I think some YouTubers are just like flat out kiss asses when they get bigger, and you just. Yeah, like I agree that you can't trust their words. Like there's the fanboys that are just fanboys, and that's why you can't trust their word on anything. And then there are the other YouTubers that don't keep it 100%. And I just don't think they give reliable, reviews, because when they get big, I think their perception gets distorted. And when they get close to these developers, their honesty and their perception definitely gets distorted a little bit. So yeah, I think you gotta find that YouTuber that's like kinda in the middle, that they're trustworthy and they're not being manipulated. There's no strings behind them, and they're also they're also objective. Like, I'm not trying to call no names, but I mean, like, Angry Joe is a big one that I would not listen to any of his reviews. A lot of people do, but I know I've seen his live streams, I've seen his gameplay. He sucks at games. So, and I never understood like a lot of people who play games for a living and they still suck. I just don't get it. Like the other one, Dark Side Phil, completely garbage at games. I don't know if y'all ever seen this video, but y'all gotta watch it when he's playing Metal Gear Solid 1, like recently. I think this was last year.
Yeah.
And he's struggling, like can't figure out buttons, can't do nothing. Can barely get past like a half an hour of the game in Metal Gear Solid 1. I was a teenager when I beat that game. This man is a grown man, can't figure out how to get past half an hour. Can't trust people like that when it comes to game reviews. And with Angry Joe, I've just seen him play games and he's pretty bad. He's definitely not great. And I think when you're not good at games, your perception of games is distorted and not trustworthy. Because I've seen him complain about games and then that are really easy and then blame the game and negate the game, how good the game is, because he had personal difficulty with it. And I'm like, bro, I beat that game on the hardest difficulty and I walked through it like with ease. You're playing this game like on normal and you're struggling. That's not the game's fault. You're just fucking bad. So, certain things like that, yeah, you got to watch out for.
That sounds quite familiar.
I was about to say the same thing, Ricky. It sounds very familiar.
Yeah, it really does. Very, very familiar.
Should we just say it?
Yeah, let's just keep it with Hip Hop Gamer.
Yeah,
we love Hip Hop Gamer. That's our boy. We've had him on the show many times. We probably will have him on the show many times. But dude, you weren't good at Bloodborne. You should have just said that. Let's just be real. Come on now. Come on.
But we all understand that Bloodborne is considered a hard game. But if you've played any of the previous Souls games, you know that Bloodborne is definitely not one of the hardest. And your average gamer, come on, they could pass the parts that he was struggling with. And blaming it on the frame rate issues, no.
Yeah, no.
Frame rate. I mean, the game that game stays pretty solid. It doesn't get too silly.
He rolled like on some pots in the corner, and he was like, "Look, the frame rate dropped right there." I'm like, "Really? For like a split second?"
And I got the platinum in that game.
Yeah.
So
got it too.
Yeah, so I beat every boss, and including the DLC, so I went through that whole game. I know all the difficult parts. The frame rate drops sometimes in boss fights. Especially when
if there's another person, right?
Yeah, especially when they have a lot of particle effects and, all that happening on screen. But I would say it's never gotten in the way of me beating a boss. I've never encountered the frame rate, me losing or dying because of the frame rate. Not once in that game. So yeah, I mean, Bloodborne is one of those games where
it really will show the true colors of who considers themselves legit gamers.
I'm gonna say this. This might be like controversial, but it's just true. I would actually venture to say Bloodborne is actually a hard game. It's just you need to learn the way it is, you know.
Exactly. It's not hard. It's trial and error. That's how I describe that game. You die. Dying is the best. All dying is in that game is telling you what not to do.
Yeah.
And then
exactly.
You just don't do it. What you did last time, you don't do it again. So there's 1,000 things you could do. There's 990 things that are wrong. So you got to just use the process of elimination, and you keep fucking dying. And then every single time you die, I guarantee you that boss that you keep dying to becomes easier and easier. Because in the DLC, like in Ludwig, I must have died to this motherfucker like 60 times in the other one. Mm-hmm. And every single time I died, I'm like, he's becoming easier and easier. Like, I know this guy. Like, I know him. I know everything he does. I know his moveset. I could practically do this, you know, half block. I could do it with one eye at least, right? So it's just trial and error.
And see, that's the sad thing, because shouldn't games these days be like that? They're not. They used to be like that back in the day, you know, the Mega Mans and the whatnot, but that's the problem. Bloodborne is definitely just, it brings it back. And a lot of people who, you know, weren't there for that, you know, when games were like that, or they must have forgotten, or they probably sucked back then and they suck now.
Or they don't want to deal with that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
I mean, you know, Tony's said many times that he doesn't like games that just kind of drop you in somewhere and just kind of let you do and just let you kind of, you know, bang your head against the wall until you figure something out.
Yeah, I could understand that. Like, I'm having that problem with The Witness. I wish I could return digital games, man. Like, I'm not liking this game at all. But Ken, we talk about it. It's one of those games. Hey, we don't know what the story is. Just go, you know, find out. It's like, what am I doing in this world? I don't get it. I wanted to tell this story real quick. Manny could vouch for this too. Another thing I noticed at events, right? Every time I play a game demo and I'm there with the developer, I don't know why. Almost every single time they're surprised that I beat the demo, and you're the first person that beat the demo. I'm like, how? This was easy. Like, I was playing Rise of the Tomb Raider, right, at a Square Enix event, maybe a month before the game came out. I blasted through that demo in 5 minutes, and they're like, shit. Like, not only did you beat that game, you beat it fast. I'm like, yeah, it's Tomb Raider. I've played Tomb Raider. This isn't hard. It's like, wow. It's like no one's been able to do this. It's shit like that. That's every single time. And then when you see these dudes, like, you know, they have to explain, okay, when you press A, the character will jump. When you press, you know, Y, you know, they'll do this. It's like, you should know that.
You know,
like, when the fuck is an X? You know, if you're playing a place, X is almost always the fucking attack button. R2 is almost always the shoot button. This standard stuff. What the fuck?
The thing is that nobody ever said they needed to be an expert. All they needed to do, their main job description is to write some shit.
But you can understand why this weirds me out as a gamer, right? It's like, dude, what the fuck is wrong with you?
To me, when I started seeing something like that, I said, okay, that makes sense to me. Because these guys are just paid to write. They're not paid to be good at games.
Yeah, I mean, I get it now, but even told them, like, dude, really? Like, the developers have to practically walk them through it, you know, like they're a baby or something, you know? I remember we were playing Plants vs. Zombies at this EA event, right? The guy was trying to explain to it was me, Hip Hop Gamer, Carl, and another guy. The guy was about to explain it. It's like, yo, no, we're good. We got this. We beat the shit out of the developers, you know? So it's like, you know, it's just, the difference is just interesting to me, you know? It's crazy. Anyway, so let's move on to some news. Ken, you going to stick around?
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Thank you. All right. This week was boring, man. Like, nothing really happened. Like, gaming-wise, it was just a bunch of shit. A couple of little things here. This one is not related to gaming, but it's related to YouTube. We're on YouTube, obviously, so we need to talk about this. The whole Fine Brothers shit. Ken, I'm pretty sure you checked this out, right?
Yeah, so apparently they tried to, what's the word I'm looking for?
Copyrighted.
Well, no, they
reaction videos.
Yeah, they trademarked Kids React, Elderly React.
So that meant that they were they said they weren't trying to do that afterwards to, I guess, damage control, but they were trying to copyright their format, so they could, I guess, protect their way of doing it, or other people couldn't use it. That's the story I'm hearing, because they're saying something different, but we were getting something different from trademarking and copywriting that format.
Yeah, no, you pretty much hit on the head. So basically what happened is, for those who don't know, so there's this group, Define Brothers, they do those react videos. So you've seen those kids playing Nintendo games, or old people playing Bloodborne, or whatever the fuck they do that type of shit, right? So, they make a lot of money off it, obviously. So they're like, okay, we want to monetize this. We want to let you guys do the same type of videos we're doing, and we're gonna get paid. You're gonna get paid, all that shit, right? On the surface of it, I understand what they were getting at. The problem is they literally tried to copyright the word react and react the format, and that's where because I heard about this maybe a day after. That's when I'm like, wait, you're trying to get a copyright a format. We're getting into some weird waters now, because formats of things have been around for ages, right? Like, you can't really copyright a format. It's weird. Chris, get in here, because I know you got some thoughts on this.
Well, they didn't come up with the reaction video. That's what kind of annoys me. It's like, this has been done in marketing. I mean, are they gonna license Two Girls One Cup? Because I remember that was a reaction video. It's like, come on. And the marketing campaign for, I think, Dead Space 2 was Your Mom Hates Dead Space, which was reaction videos of old people watching Dead Space, right? That was a reaction video. Technically, that was a marketing campaign. They didn't come up with this idea. Reaction videos have been around forever. So you can't trademark a video format and go, well, you can license it from us. And they had the program, it was called React World, and you were supposed to license it from them, and then they would provide you with revenue sharing and stuff. I thought this was just... this was just like a cash grab. I understand they want to kind of protect their brand and the kids react and stuff, but there's other ways to go about it than trying to monetize it and lock it under trademarks. It's like you can't trademark a format. That's like watching a video and then reacting to it. How do you copyright that?
Yeah, I will say that, like, what they did definitely was on some pretty sneaky scumbag shit, but I definitely was surprised at people's reaction, like the whole unsubbing thing. I didn't think it was that serious that they would lose that many subs. The most I thought that was gonna happen was 1 million dislikes, right? Or, yeah, I thought it was gonna be dislike central, and probably how it goes. People would probably dislike for the next 3 videos. Just to give y'all a little reminder, y'all are still assholes for trying that, and then it would fade away. Because I definitely didn't expect them. I don't know how many subs they've lost at this point, but I definitely didn't expect them to lose that many subs from it, and that people were gonna, unsub from them. Because I feel like I feel like there's been YouTubers that's probably done way worse shit. and didn't get this type of backlash. So I'm like, there are people. I'm sure there's people that have done way worse shit. So that's why I was just surprised that people reacted that way, I guess.
They should have a react video of reacting to that video.
Well, I mean, that's the funny thing. People started doing that like crazy, reaction videos of the reacting. It was hilarious. But when I saw it, and this was a day after, it was like they lost 20,000 subs. I'm pretty sure they lost way more. They lost 20,000 subs. I wish we could lose that many.
Can we pick some of those guys up?
Well, I think at one point yesterday they were down 400,000.
Damn.
Yeah, the unsubs were like, it was cascading. Like, the last I heard was 400,000.
Yeah, and I heard there was a campaign of theirs, unsub fine or some shit like that. Crazy, but it goes to show you that, what people think. And see, here's the thing. Even though, like you said, there are people who did worse things, I understand why people were mad, and I don't think they're justified in thinking that. It's like, you guys are doing some scumbag. This is like when Gene Simmons tried to fucking copyright OJ. It's like, you don't do that shit. Or fucking Sony with Let's Play. Really, Sony? Come on, man. You can't copyright shit like that. It's insane. So I think it was just, the anger or whatever was justified. And it just, like, to me, I'm like, how do you, like, sit in a boardroom and you have numerous people there, right? How the fuck do you think shit like that is okay?
So I just looked at their most recent video they uploaded 8 hours ago, and yeah, people are still disliking like crazy. You know, still assaulting them with the dislikes. But my thing is, there's even a comment that says shut down the channel and it has over 1,000 thumbs up. But well, my thing is they're still watching. The video still has like 460,000 views. Y'all are still watching.
Yeah. You're still making the money.
Yeah. So you're coming to the video and disliking, but you're still giving them exactly what they need. So it's like, okay.
That's a good point, exactly. You know, and then, you know, obviously they shut the whole shit down, the whole React world. None of that anymore. They said they're gonna revise it. You know, somebody pointed out something. If they had done this on the sneak tip without telling anybody, they may have gotten away with it. You know, they had a whole video like, oh, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that.
Well, I don't know if they how good that would have gone over either.
That would have
might
been
gone
worse.
Yeah, I think that would have been worse because as soon as somebody major on YouTube found out about this, because look at major YouTubers reacting to this now, right? If they had found out, like, hey, we're doing React World and we're just going to start flagging your videos because we've trademarked React videos, right? And they start tagging reaction channels all over YouTube, man, the backlash would have been tremendous. You know, no warning, no licensing option, no React World, they just did it. Like, I think it would have been way worse.
Yeah, they may have gotten away with the copyright, whatever, for a while, and then you're right, people would find out, and it's like, oh shit.
I officially don't think they even have a copyright.
No, they did.
No, they did. They had a
did,
trademark. Right? Yeah, on Kids React and Elderly React, they trademarked the terms. They've just they filed to cancel the trademarks, but they actually did trademark those two terms.
So, did they make a video announcing that they were doing this at first, or did you find out?
Yeah, there was an intro to React World, their program for licensing. Those phrases they trademarked, so you could do the same thing they're doing, but you had to license it from them and pay them, or there was revenue sharing. There was some way they were doing it where you share the money.
So, and that actually got approved because they had to send that to the trademark thing, and
that got approved. Yeah.
Wow. I'm surprised that got approved.
Exactly. Because at least with the Sony thing, they got shut down before it even started.
Yeah,
you know?
Because it's because there's a fine line between licensing terms that are not used normally in English language, and then there's this stuff like that, like Let's Play. You use that now. You don't even use that for video games. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
You friggin' Johnny Cage in the Mortal Kombat movie uses Let's Play or something like that. You know, well, were you gonna pay Sony now because they own that term?
So yeah, I mean, there you go. I mean, they're not doing this right now, but it's just interesting. To me, it's just interesting. Like we're trying to copyright formats now. You know, that's kind of scary. You know, because again, formats are standard in things. You know, with stories or whatever. You know, so. Kind of scary if that happens.
Well, I think the reason why they did it is because of that one. Because famous, like famous shows are also using the same format.
Yeah, Ellen DeGeneres, for example, she did that. Kids reacting to something, they're like, "Hey, look, she did that, and we didn't get money." But my thing is like, but those kind of videos have existed before you guys. As a matter of fact, these guys, Fine Brothers, they didn't start off with React videos. They did other shit. You know, they came into that after it got popular. You know. But you didn't invent that format either, guys. That shit's been around since the 80s and shit, you know? People have been doing that stuff for years, so it's just interesting how they try to get away with it, you know?
And I think they thought they would get away with it because, I mean, they were at, over 13 million subscribers? Maybe they thought they were at a point where they're like, oh, okay, we can make this work, right? We have enough.
You know that's sad, because a company always thinks that they're at a certain point where they're untouchable. You're never at that certain point where you're untouchable. You saw this. The most recent example I remember is Microsoft. Back when this generation first started, and I think Sony may have tried to do this back a generation before.
It happened to Sony. It happened to Sony too.
Yeah, 2006. Yeah,
they thought they were big shit.
Yeah, they always think that I think these companies think, and big YouTube channels, they think there's this point that once we reach this point, nobody can tell us shit. And that point doesn't exist, because as soon as you try and make that step over there, the backlash is just going to hit you hard. We've seen it time and time again.
Yeah, and look what happened in Nintendo. Same shit. They thought they were hot stuff, with the Wii U. And look what happened, Same shit. Stop getting too big for your britches, basically, And speaking about Nintendo, perfect segue Chris, I threw this in here specifically for you, man.
He likes fanning your, making you react to these things, Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chris reacts to Nintendo news.
Yeah, exactly.
Chris reacts to Nintendo news.
I know.
And Ken, in case you didn't know, Chris here, he used to work for Nintendo for many years, so he has a specific view on them.
Okay.
Okay, so Nintendo is looking into the idea of releasing a virtual reality console or whatever, right? My first thing that popped in my head, I'm like, oh, so they're making a Virtual Boy 2. Look how well that thing set back VR for 10 years, basically, maybe 20 years. That's how shitty it was.
I don't even think it did anything. It didn't do nothing. It didn't set it back. It didn't set it forward. It just sat
that's
there.
even worse than, isn't it?
Yeah.
So the Virtual Boy was a piece of shit, and now. And here's the funny thing. Here's what I thought was interesting. Nintendo, for the last few years, has publicly said, I'm talking about Reggie Fils-Aimé and Miyamoto have been saying this VR stuff isn't, a good format for Nintendo. It doesn't work for us. This is just tech. It's not fun. This is not for us. So now, Kimishima, he's like, hey, we're looking into this now. Very interesting that Nintendo's, changed their tune. So, Chris, man, what are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, the tune obviously changes because, like, they've seen they maybe looked finally outside of themselves and seen, like, hey, look at all this VR, and let's be real, they've seen it before. I remember the E3 we all went to. Miyamoto got a hands-on, like, he got taken into Oculus and he got to see it, right? And then right after that was the statements of, like, oh, VR is just tech and it's not fun and all that. All that statements came out right after E3 2014. And so the change in attitude is just that, gee, everybody's doing VR, guys. What are we doing? Oh, maybe we should do something, But they're always so far behind everyone else, right? Everyone's done their explorations, everyone's done their research, their tech development. I mean, look how long Project Morpheus was going on into PlayStation VR. How long Oculus has been in development? How long Vive has been in development? OpenVR, all that stuff's been going on, and they have just been basically like, that's not for us. And now they're going to go like, oh, we're going to research VR. It's good luck with that, They're going to start now, and everything is patented and locked away. Everyone's got their own tech and their own stuff, so, good luck figuring that out. I mean, if it's going to end up like Virtual Boy again, where you lock the, the history why Virtual Boy was, part of the reason was such a failure, is because they actually thought third-party developers were going to steal the tech, so they didn't show it to anyone else when Virtual Boy came out. That's why it only had like 12 games. Because it was completely locked to first-party development. There's only Nintendo games on Virtual Boy. There's no third-party games.
Man, and that's crazy, but, here's the thing, and glad you pointed this out, too. If this thing comes out, it won't be for a few years at the earliest.
Yeah. If they're going to start now, it's going to be like 5 years out if they make anything. And then that's 5 years into the lifespan of everything else that's coming out right now, right? If Oculus has revisions, if PlayStation VR has revisions, HoloLens is going to be out, OpenVR, Vive, all this stuff is going to be out, and we don't know who else is going to enter the market in that time, who's doing research into it. And then they're going to enter that, at the last minute. I don't see that going well.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man. But for fun, actually, Ken, what do you think about this whole Nintendo VR situation?
I always feel like Nintendo is always, should I say always? They've recently always been behind the curve when it comes to things. I really don't have much faith in them. Because I didn't like the Wii. I thought the GameCube was great. Like, I was a big fan of the GameCube. But after that, they just went a completely different direction with the Wii. As far as virtual reality goes, is the word that they said they're exploring or looking into it, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if they should, because I feel like with them it's a harder sell than it is for PlayStation or Microsoft, because PlayStation and Microsoft are currently giving their audience what they want. Nintendo even failed at giving their core audience what they wanted with the Wii U. So you're not even like in a space to be even worried about virtual reality. I think I think you just have to be worrying about the basics, which you didn't even do, which is deliver the core games that your fan base wanted. So, you know, I think they should actually be more conservative and, you know, go back to the basics with the NX.
Yeah, that's the man, Nintendo. Here, Riku, since we obviously don't get you on the show very often, what are your thoughts on this whole VR thing, PlayStation VR, all that stuff? Are you interested in it or not?
VR overall for PlayStation?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm saying PlayStation because obviously that's how you're gonna play it.
Yeah.
You know? So,
Well,
yeah.
if I were to play it, that's how I would play it. But you're right.
If you
I'm
were
not
to
really-
play it, I noticed what you
yeah.
said there.
So yeah, I'm not really interested in VR. I'm one of those guys that, you know, I haven't tried it, so I'm not swayed yet. But do I see myself playing VR? Not really. But I mean, a lot of people say that.
What about rigs, son?
It depends, man. I mean, a lot of people I heard that said they weren't into VR, and then they tried it. They're like, okay, I'm on board. So maybe I'm one of those guys. But as far as Nintendo getting into VR, I agree with what BG said, and I do think they're coming from the mindset of, but we're innovators. We're Nintendo. Look how much we sold with the Wii, and the Wii was so unique and different, and we won that generation. We can do it again with the VR. This is our chance. And it's just like, no, you guys didn't innovate with the Wii U, and you don't even. They shouldn't even be thinking about VR right now. It shouldn't even be in their head. They should be thinking about trying to be successful.
Nintendo tries to be different to the point even when it hurts them. Like
Yeah.
they are focused on being too different and not being successful. They're that, you know, they're kind of like they're the contrarians of the gaming industry where they it's like they see what everybody else is doing, and they're like, okay, we're just gonna do the opposite, even if it doesn't make sense. We're gonna go completely far left with this.
Would you compare them to Apple in the phone industry?
Similar, but I feel like Apple does more stuff that works. You know.
True.
So
here's an interesting question. You say that again, I'm just playing pure devil's advocate here because I don't care about Nintendo either way. You say that Nintendo is just like doing things differently, but the question is, would you really want them to do the same thing that everyone else is doing and essentially just fade into the background of mediocrity in terms of, hey, it's just another PlayStation, just not as good like the Xbox is?
I'm going to bring up the obvious question. Nintendo has already they're already like obscure. They're already like in the shadows. So
yeah, but obscure in that context of just,
okay,
hey, it's not as good as PlayStation and it does nothing different. So why should I bother?
I don't
A la
want
Xbox One.
Yeah, I don't want them to copy PlayStation or Xbox, but PlayStation and Xbox is catering to a crowd that are not even core PlayStation or Xbox fans. Like, there's at least one game or a few games that someone that's not a diehard PlayStation fan would be like, you know what, that looks interesting. Or an Xbox fan, you know, would look at a PlayStation platform and be like, you know, that's interesting, and vice versa. I have an interest. But Nintendo is not catering to a huge audience. It's like they're stubborn, and they're like, okay, these games worked for us the past 20 some odd years, so we're gonna keep on making games for that audience, even though that audience has evolved. Their core audience has changed and evolved. That, you know, they're aged. They're not the same age anymore. Their taste in gaming has changed. So you can still have your franchises that's your bread and butter. That's always been Nintendo. But then there's an evolving and changing fan base that you're completely ignoring. Huge, that you're completely ignoring, and you're not making any software for. Like, I don't have anything against Nintendo where I would not. I want to own a Wii U, for example, but there was nothing that was convincing enough for me to like, because I owned it once, and I waited like a whole year to like, okay, let me see if they put anything out that'll cater to somebody like me. The only thing that came relatively close was Zombie U, and I don't feel like that was much of it. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great.
Didn't it just come to other platforms also?
Zombie.
Yeah, it just called Zombie.
So they're just ignoring. I'm not saying you gotta just completely change yourself, but you gotta have at least a few games that are like, this is not for the core Nintendo people. This is not your Metroid, not your Zelda, not your Mario.
Is that probably the reason why you like the GameCube a lot? Because it did have Resident Evil 4 and...
Exactly. It had other games outside of that weren't your typical Nintendo game, because it had third-party support, obviously, but it even had some Nintendo games that were outside of the box of what you would consider a Nintendo game. Now it's just what you expect. It's literally what you expect. You expect a Mario, it's gonna be a Mario. You expect... I didn't even... It's some of the stuff that you would expect you're not even getting. How long have people been begging for a
Star Fox?
A Star Fox? They're getting that now, but shit.
Metroid
and the racing game. I'm so tired.
Oh, F-Zero.
F-Zero. How long have people? F-Zero could be a hit. A lot of people want that. So some of the stuff that even as a Nintendo fan you want, you're not even guaranteed to get. People have been waiting on the new Zelda forever, and it's just like you're not even guaranteed to get what you expect from Nintendo. So it's like, jeez.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point, man. Like, we've all said this on the show. We want to get back into Nintendo. Nintendo, for most of us here, got us into fucking gaming in the first place, right? But they're kind of telling us like, hey, we don't really want you here. There's a different crowd we want. We don't want you guys.
Well, so that was the whole motion. Like, I was there in those meetings when they said that. I've heard from them. I've been in personal talks where they've said our core audience will always be there. But we want grandma. We want all these older, especially women. They were going after women hard with the Wii and the DS. I remember all those meetings. They really didn't care about core gamers. So they were making a ton of stuff like that. That's why there was Wii Sports Resort and all that, Wii Fit, all that stuff. That's why they made a sequel to Wii Fit. They were just going after expanding the audience more than trying to cater to their grown-up core audience. And then that's why when they kept making the Mario games, you notice there's things like cat suits and P-Wings that carry you through the level, because they were catering to younger kids. They weren't catering to the core. They still aren't.
And what they fail to realize is the younger audience that may like your games now, they're not as passionate as we were when we were younger and playing your games.
Great point,
that audience are now adults. A lot of them have moved on for gaming. Some of them don't even game anymore, and they're changed. They're not there anymore like they used to be. So you have to change. Sometimes you have to change with them or give them both. You're catering to an audience that was there like 20, 10 years ago. That's not there, at least not in the same way anymore. So and that's why it's not working out for them.
Right, and it's funny that Brian made the point that you don't want them to be like a poor man's PlayStation or a poor man's Xbox. But at the same time, while they're trying to meet demand for things that people are asking for, the things that have been available on PC and the other console for years, that they're now trying to do, like the eShop, like single sign-on. They haven't looked at the trends that have been happening in their competitors, and now they're trying to implement them, and they're implementing them poorly. So it's funny that they're kind of fulfilling that prophecy without even trying, right? They're not looking at what works, what works in Steam, what's Xbox doing, what's PlayStation doing, how has the network evolved. They don't look at any of that. They're like, oh, we need digital distribution, right? And they try to implement it from scratch, and it's kind of clunkily put together. And then they didn't have single sign-on, so everything's tied to your console. So if your console gets faulty, guess what? You have to mail it in and hope they can save all your data and send you back a refurbished unit, because everything you had is now lost, right? So they need single sign-on. They need that stuff, but the implementation of it is only now going to happen with the NX, right? It hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
Well, you said it yourself. A lot of those people, that, even from your personal experience, Chris, you said that a lot of those guys over there didn't even play the other consoles. They were just kind of stuck in the Nintendo void.
They don't do competitive research at all. Like, that was actually frowned upon.
Yeah, Riku, were you gonna say?
Well, I was gonna say, as far as what Nintendo as a company even started off as. You know, didn't they start off as a toy company in the first place? Correct?
Yeah, that's right.
And you know, when you think toys, you think children. That's usually who it's catered for. When they're like I said, they're definitely the most traditional when it comes to sticking to what they think this is the way it's gonna be, and there's no reason to change. And they brought that all the way up to here. And when it's time to change and they don't want to, you say you cater to, let's say, ages 3 to 16. That's usually where the games they try to cater their Marios and all of their other stuff. And they think, oh yeah, well, there's always going to be people being born. There's always going to be someone around that age, and we're always going to have someone that it caters to. But when you see little kids on here playing GTA and Call of Duty, the games that are technically, rated M for mature, more little kids are playing the mature games. They're getting into the mature side of games a lot quicker, outside of their age range. So it's just like, who are you really catering it to now if most of them are moving over to the mature games a lot quicker?
And they're playing games that they can play with their friends. That's the cool thing in school.
Yep.
They talk to their friends. Oh, what game are you playing? All right, we're gonna hop on and play this together after we get home from school.
What's Billy playing? Mario by himself.
Yeah, exactly. I know there are a few games on Nintendo that that have online, not a lot, and they're not multiplayer focused. That's not what they don't want to go home and play alone. They want to go home and play with their friends that they
and the only game on Nintendo right now that you can say keeps them afloat is Smash Brothers. And that's the only game that you can. In my my group of friends, I just still hear them, still today, say, okay, we're all gonna just like you said. Oh, we're gonna go home. We're gonna play Smash. We're all gonna do. The only game I hear them on the Nintendo side is Smash, and that's reasonable because Nintendo supports Smash.
Man? What about Splatoon?
True, you hear things about Splatoon, but Smash, like this is the reason people buy Nintendo consoles now. It's Smash. And even today, when they're announcing characters like Cloud and Bayonetta, characters that we probably would never see in Smash, and they're not necessarily meant for kids. Cloud has this big ass Buster Blade, and Bayonetta is definitely not for children. But they're in Smash now, and they're playing, fighting with all the Kirby characters. It's just like the only thing Nintendo really cares about, as far as from a software standpoint, is Smash. It's probably the main reason why they even tried to implement DLC, which is something they really didn't even care about a generation ago. They care about it now, and they're using it to bring these new Smash characters in, and people are loving it. But it's just like you guys said, we're the F-Zeros. We're all the other games that people really want, that are part of your fan base. But it's just like, that's the only game I can really think that they care about, making sure that as long as this game right here is successful, we're good.
Yeah, it's sad, man. Like I said, I said it on the show. I'll say it again. I honestly believe that NX is going to be the last Nintendo console. I think they're going to be. I think they're going to be third party after that.
We'll see.
You're going to have to, But we'll see, All right. Moving on here. More VR shit. This is funny. So there's this game in development called Ant Simulator where you get to play an ant. It's an ant simulator, right? Crowdfunding game, all that. It was pretty successful. It was almost going to go to Steam, First Access, all that shit. Turns out that the game is getting canceled now because this is an interesting story. So at first, the main developer dude came out and said that his partners blew all the money on booze and fucking strippers, right?
Wow.
Which is crazy. And then these dudes came out a couple of days after that saying, no, he's lying. He took all the money for himself. Crazy shit. The specifics of it, obviously we don't really know. The reason I want to talk about it is because to me, it's just another example of why you should be really careful when you crowdfund a fucking game. I talked about Mighty Number 9 in the last episode and on episode 2 of the Gaming Assembly podcast with Kenneth here, and it's like, I'm not crowdfunding shit anymore, man. Like, Mighty Number 9 taught me a very good lesson. Like, Tony, wait until the shit is out, really out, because You don't know what's gonna happen. I mean, I'm at least gonna get the game. Imagine if you crowdfunded fucking Ant Simulator and that's it. The game is not coming out at all. It is not coming. You know, so yeah, man. Rico, what are your thoughts on this whole crowdfunding shit, man? Actually, what are your thoughts on this situation and crowdfunding in general?
Let me talk about this stupid Ant Simulator. This shit sounds stupid as fuck. but the sad part is, you know, if it came out, it would probably sell good because didn't Goat Simulator do well?
Oh yeah.
No, like we need to make a simulator of everything now these days. So
But
when I think about
Simulator-
an Ant Simulator, I'm just like, there's been more stupid stuff. Like a Goat Simulator sounds more stupid than an Ant Simulator. I would actually play an Ant Simulator
But here's
over
the
a
thing.
Goat Simulator.
To be fair, Goat Simulator, that's a joke title. The game
True.
is
Okay.
ridiculous. Like there's no fire-breathing goats in real life, you know. Like,
Yeah.
You know.
Okay, I didn't even see any gameplay of Goat Simulator, so I wouldn't
Goat
know.
Simulator, and it's like really buggy, but on purpose, and people love that shit. It's just really goofy, like talking.
So that's the reason why it's successful, is because it's okay.
It's
So
a
I don't know
Plus,
what that. Yeah, go ahead.
Just keep in mind that there's a game called Farming Simulator, and
True.
it's available
That's
on
a
PS4.
real game.
Yeah. No,
On
I
PS4,
never said this was a PC exclusive thing. I definitely know this simulator stuff is.
I'm just letting you know that the
I've
farming
heard.
genre is
Yeah.
massive, and it's seriously massive.
Well, yeah, the farming simulator. Well, I was just talking about simulating anything and making it and slapping, you know, the name and simulator behind it. And that, you know, the sad part is the Ant one sounded kind of promising to me, but apparently it's not coming out now, right?
Nope, not coming at all. This shit is canceled.
And wait, what was your previous question as far as Kickstarter?
Crowdfunding, not Kickstarter. By the way, I need to say this very interesting story. So one of the guys that works for Kickstarter, right? He went on like, I'm saying this a little bit earlier, but basically he went on Twitter telling sites that reported on this. This was not a Kickstarter game. This was a crowdfunding game. Please correct this, right? He went saying this to a whole bunch of sites. Here's where it gets interesting, because I posted about this, right? So he tweets at me, and you can see right now it's all public. He tweets at me going, "Hey, hi Tony. Just to let you know, this was not a Kickstarter game. This was just crowdfunded." And I replied to him, and my editor said, "Good on you, Tony, for doing this." I replied, I'm like, "I never used the word Kickstarter in my article. What are you talking about?" You know. So it's just in case this guy comes after us. This is not a Kickstarter game. This is a crowdfunding game.
So he was trying to damage control something that was never there.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
to be fair, a bunch of sites did say a Kickstarter game, right? Because they assume Kickstarter, crowdfunding, it's the same thing. It's not, and that's why I made sure when I wrote my shit, I'm like, was this Kickstarter? It wasn't. Okay, crowdfunded. There is a difference.
Yeah, the thing is that there is that because Kickstarter and crowdfunding are kind of in bed together. Even when you say the word, say they're synonymous together. As soon as you say crowdfunded, automatically people think Kickstarter. When there's a bunch of other different, crowdfunding sites now.
Yeah, exactly.
So I've been under a rock, a one-piece rock, but.
Uh-oh. So hear more about it on Tanime.
We will explain to me the difference between Kickstarter and crowdfunding.
Oh, it's
the
simple.
same
Okay.
thing.
Yeah, Kickstarter is crowdfunding, right? But crowdfunding is not Kickstarter. Kickstarter is a company. Think about it like that.
Crowdfunding is a concept. It's like when people use the word Photoshop. Like photo editing has been around forever, but people just use the term Photoshop. Anytime a picture or anything is edited, they just say Photoshop. Even though people have used film and edited negatives and done double exposure, that's photo editing, right? That's the proper term. That's the concept. But people don't say that because Photoshop is like the biggest photo editing program on earth, right? Okay. So Kickstarter basically was the first out of the gate of crowdfunding sites, and there's Indiegogo and there's Patreon and there's all the stuff now, right? But it's all crowdsourcing. And there's even private crowdsourcing. There's GoFundMe and all that stuff. But people just use the term Kickstarter now synonymous with crowdsourcing, but it's not the same thing. They're just a crowdsourcing site.
Okay.
Yeah, basically, crowdfunding is like, the act, right? You are crowdfunding. Kickstarter is the name of a company. That's the simplest version of it. So yeah, pretty interesting. Brian, get in here because I know you probably have some thoughts about this.
It's fucking dumb. That's all I need to say, to be fair. Come on. I mean, it's okay. It's dumb on many levels. First of all, there's the core idea itself of the ant simulator game. Like, I understand that it could have been like really good. Like, you could have like just gone down and like educated people on how like ants work in like the colony mind, where you have like the workers, the queen, and all sorts, and all that sort of stuff. So it had potential to be like an MMO type thing, but I don't think they really took it that far. And then the whole thing about them taking the money and running, it's not the first time I've seen and heard of this, so I'm not too surprised. And again, it's crowdfunding. It's one of the what's wrong for? It's one of the dangers of crowdfunding. There's always a chance that things won't work out the way it is, but then again, there's always a chance that things will work out better than expected. For example, there's been a good fair amount of like crowdfunding games that have just made it. Like, look at Dr. Swift. That's like the biggest crowdfunding thing that people can remember in like the last couple of years. And it went like from nothing to something in like 3 years. Same thing I think with Elite Dangerous, and even Star Citizen. Like, all those games were crowdfunded, and they are on road to be like decent successes. And so it's just like one of those things where like you just never know what will happen.
And there's also the Game Republic. The thing is that I think also when these bad sorts of things happen, people tend to focus a lot on the bad, but there are so many other projects that have gotten through and done very well. The thing is that you also have to understand that whenever you decide to make an investment or make crowdfund something, that there is some danger in you doing this. You got to also remember that also even in general, let's say you were trying to fund your movie, and you find investors. Those people, the thing is that there is a chance that if you with your investors, and your project may not work out, and you may owe them money. So there's always that sort of risk that's going to happen.
Well, I don't know how it behooves anyone involved in Ant Simulator to come out and say, well, we spent the money on liquor and strippers, guys. Sorry.
Sorry about that.
So here, no refunds for you.
It sounds like a Bruce Campbell thing. You know, like, hey guys, I decided to spend all your money on hookers and strippers.
Yeah, was it hookers and blow and shit? It's hilarious. All right, so I'm gonna let's get on over to the final stuff here. Chris, man, you went to PAX South.
Yes, I did.
So, and thank you for writing some pretty awesome. Those things were very very well received. The Street Fighter and what's it, Umbrella Chronicles thing? Very well
Umbrella
received.
Corps,
So
yeah. Yeah, I have more stuff to write up. I have some interviews to transcribe.
Yeah, by the way, Chris, please tell them why you haven't been writing.
Oh, yeah, the reason it's been so I got horribly sick after PAX South. I caught something there, man. Yeah, I got conflu. I was running a fever. I spent a lot of time in the bathroom, and I won't give anyone any details. I wasn't having as much fun as the guys who made Ant Simulators. Tell you that.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, that's why it's been so going. But yeah, I saw a lot of cool stuff. Actually, I got to do an interview with Frontier, the guys who made Elite Dangerous.
Nice, Brian. I know he's happy about that.
Yeah,
man. That's
Brian,
cool.
I have a code for you if you want it.
I think Brian went to do shit or something.
A code for what exactly?
They gave me a couple of codes for ship skins.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah. And I have to talk to their community manager. I got his contact info, so I'll see what else we could do. But yeah, he was telling me about Horizons, and he was telling me about this. I'm sitting there like, so what's No Man's Sky gonna do?
Oh shit.
That's all I can think of, because when he's telling me about like the ability to planet land, and I'm playing the deathmatch, right? So I played Elite Dangerous Deathmatch. I'm like, this game is so beautiful. I actually never sat and played it. So I played it, and I was like, this is amazing. And he's like, oh yeah, we're gonna have planet landing and all that stuff. And that's the only thing I could think of. Like, gee, what's No Man's Sky gonna do? But yeah, I played some other stuff. Like I played this game called Dead Star, and it looks like a really next-gen beautiful version of Star Control 2. Yeah, it is all multiplayer kind of deathmatch stuff. It doesn't have the story, the exploration stuff of Star Control, but it has the look and the feel. And I interviewed with a couple guys there, and they're actually former Retro Studios guys, which I found very interesting. And you guys know Retro Studios is a Nintendo developer that made Metroid Prime and stuff.
Oh,
so I'm
shit,
like,
yeah.
well, they had some creative bleed out of there. These guys want to form another studio.
They got tired of translating games and localizing games.
Yeah, it's funny talking to those guys. So I'm going to have that interview transcribed soon. And I saw a couple of really cool indie stuff. I went to Devolver, and they had Enter the Gungeon there. Man, that game is fun. That game is so much fun. And I actually got into this wacky game they had called Omnibus, and it's kind of like a Western Katamari Damacy. I don't know if you guys
What?
people. Yeah, you're literally a bus, and you have like adventures. It's weird. I can't even explain it well.
I'm guessing it's along the lines of that bread, the game where you play bread. I am bread.
Yeah, it's very weird. When the guy was explaining it to me, I'm like, wait, so you're a bus? You have a personality? What? Okay, and then I played it. I was like, oh, this is kind of fun. But Enter the Gungeon, man, it's old school hardcore shit, man. It's like Gauntlet with weapons, and it's hilarious. It's so much fun. It's brutal though. It's really hard, but it's really good. And there was a game called Stories. I think I was with Charles, and he interviewed those guys, so he's gonna have that up. But Stories is pretty good. It's narrated kind of like Stanley Parable. Like there's somebody narrating everything you do in the game. It's like a 3/4 view RPG, and there's like multiple endings, and you can.
Oh, it's like what's that one? The one by the other game by Supergiant.
What, Transistor?
Not Transistor. Bastion, right?
Yeah. It's like somebody's. Like that guy, yeah, like narrating what you're doing and what's happening around you. So I thought it was pretty cool. It was beautiful. It was very colorful. Like, what's all these games like Witness and stuff with really vivid colors? It's almost like your eyes are bleeding from all the colors in these games.
I wish the gameplay was vivid.
Oh, I know. I can't speak for Witness. I never played it. This game looked cool though. And there was a bunch of other stuff there. I have all these notes I gotta compile. So look forward to that. I'm gonna have all that stuff up by this weekend. Man, I got hit hard though. When I came back from the show, I was not feeling right.
Yeah, my main question to you is, okay, you've been to PAX East, you've been to PAX South. What are some of the differences that you noticed?
PAX South is in its infancy compared. PAX East has blown up, right? So the last time I was at PAX East, it was jam-packed with stuff. Like, there was no day that was a quiet day, right? Like, Saturday's always crazy, but Friday's still crazy there, right? And it's wall-to-wall stuff. As big as that new Boston Convention Center is, the tabletop was jutting up against the expo hall with the gaming. There was no space that there wasn't stuff happening at PAX East, right? PAX South is a little sparse, man. There was a lot of space. Like, they had the expo hall, and they had big booths. Like, Twitch had a ginormous booth. They almost had a building inside of there for Twitch. Like, I mean, I thought they were just bankrolling the freaking thing by themselves. And there was a lot of stuff going on, but there was big gaps between the PAX Rising, which was the indie stuff, and then the main hall, which kind of had a lot of hardware vendors. Had a lot of booths. I mean, Astro was there, Intel was there, DX Racer with the chairs, Alienware had a giant area with this big-ass pickup truck and all their hardware. Cybertron PC had a giant area for themselves.
Cybertron,
yes. And then there was this huge empty area, and then on the other side of the hall was tabletop gaming, right? And then for some reason, in the middle, in a lonely island by themselves, was Insomniac, and they were promoting some 2D game called Song of the Deep.
Yeah, Song of the Deep, their new game, which is Song of the Deep, interesting game. Being published by GameStop, out of all people. Think about that.
I was like, I don't like that. The game looks cool, but I don't like that.
I'm guessing the only place you can get it is GameStop.
Physical copies, yes. You can only get physical copies at GameStop. And they're also going to have toys, all that shit. So, yeah, make of that what you will. But, I mean, like you said, this was, what, the second PAX South they ever had or something?
Yeah, it's the second PAX South, and Charles said he felt like the first one had a little more stuff going on. I can't speak to that. I didn't go last year. This year there was a lot of stuff, but man, they really had a lot of space left in the hall, and I felt like a lot of stuff was missing. There was okay, Microsoft said they were there, but all the Microsoft stuff I saw was in a Skype booth. They literally had a giant booth for Skype. Right, it was labeled Skype. They had a lounge area you could play like Rare Replay. They had Xboxes set up, and they had this trivia contest going on where you spin a wheel and you answer questions about the company. I don't know. You get a shirt if you win or something. And I was like, okay, that's all they got, because they were tweeting like, oh, we're going to show this at the Microsoft booth. I'm like, what Microsoft booth? You mean the Skype booth?
Yeah, I guess they're one and the same. Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't see a lot of big publisher booths anywhere there, because I think this show falls in this just weird time in winter, right?
Yeah.
And then PAX East is in a sweet spot, right in the spring and before E3, right? So they can kind of tease stuff. But I think PAX South is
too. That sweet spot right before the fall.
The holidays, yeah, exactly. So PAX South really isn't in a sweet spot for anything. It's just in the middle. It's in the dead zone of January. Nothing comes out in January. Nothing's gonna come out till spring. So when I talk to all these indie guys and these other guys are like, "When is this coming out? Spring, 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 spring. Expect it in spring." And the only definitive date I got was for Street Fighter, but I already knew that.
Yeah, that's true.
By the way, playing Street Fighter, man. Oh, I wanted to be mad at Capcom, but it's so good.
It's fantastic.
It's so.
Wait.
Yo, Tony, like you said, I had a similar story. Like, I walked up there and the girl was explaining to me. I'm like, all right, I got this. And I just started whooping everyone. I perfected one guy. Like, he came up there. They actually were gonna put me on the pro stage. I'm like, no, please don't put me up there. I'm good, but I'm not that good.
Oh yeah, those dudes are murder you.
Yeah, I know. They were like, you can sit on the pro stage. I'm like, no. I'm good. I'm good right here.
Yeah, that kind of happened to me when I was playing the preview at E3. I was whipping the shit out of these dudes, and but they didn't ask me if I wanted to be on a pro stage. But it got to a point I'm like, okay, I got enough for my preview. I'm good. I don't need to fight this.
I stepped away. They actually, I chose Ken, and I started whooping these guys. They're like, can you pick another character? I'm like, all right. So I picked Karen, and I was still whooping guys, and it's like, I don't even know who she is.
Yeah,
I'm just trying stuff.
Karen's good too, man.
Yeah, she's a good character.
Karen's from Street Fighter Alpha 3, right?
That's right. That's right. Here's what happened with me. It was pretty cool. The first guy I played against at E3 was a fan that got invited by Capcom, right? And this motherfucker was there the whole time. Like, he just kept going back online to play Street Fighter, right?
Yeah.
And he showed, because remember, Street Fighter 5 is very different, right? He showed me the ropes real quick, because I was telling him, like, yo, this is the way I've been playing the game. He's like, okay, if you want to do that, you do this. So he gave me like a good crash course, right? And he beat me, obviously. He knew the game inside out. But then everybody after him, I just kept like murdering and stuff, But very interesting. Man, I can't wait for that Street Fighter, boy. Ooh, give me that.
I got excited after playing it. And I saw, I know the KI World Cup was happening at the same time PAX South was happening, and it's a damn shame they didn't connect the two. Like, I don't know how you had two disparate events going on. And Iron Galaxy was at PAX. They had a booth.
Really?
And they were running a stream from the Killer Instinct World Cup, which was happening in San Antonio in a different hotel. There were no shuttles running between the two, so you couldn't just go, hey, I'm going to go watch this a little bit and come back. You couldn't do that. You had to drive there. And there was an entrance fee for that. So I don't know where the missed opportunity was, why they didn't connect the two, or I just think that was bad. But I watched a little bit of the stream. The fights were pretty good. And they announced Season 3. They announced a couple of characters. They're going to have Rash from Battletoads. He's back in there, and they really detailed him up. I played with him. He's pretty good. And they launched Kim Woo. And it's funny. They made her like, the best way I can describe her is like she's female Bruce Lee. Like, she uses nunchucks and her attitude and stuff. And her stage is the alley from Big Trouble in Little China.
Nice.
Wow.
That's pretty cool. All right, but I mean, even though it was small, it sounds like you still had fun, though.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun. It was great, like, talking to developers and all these guys, networking with people and stuff, and getting these interviews. So I'm going to get that stuff out. But I had a good time.
Yeah. Question: What console are you going to get? Street Fighter 4.
Why would you even ask that question?
Listen.
Are you gonna get on PC or are you gonna get on PS4?
Oh, I guess PS4.
Yeah. The reason I asked that is a sloppy segue to the shit I need to talk about. Okay, so you guys already know I got a new PC. It's funny. Now, I remember one of the fans asked me, or was it Brian? I think it may have been Brian. He asked me, hey, what do you think of your new PC? And I'm like, I can't speak on it. I had this shit for like 2 days. Man, you mother, I get it now, man. I went on Steam. Okay, I'm gonna break this down in the form of a conversation. It's the best way. Like, imagine if Steam was talking to me as the actual person, right? This is how it went down. I go on Steam. Hey, you know, I love Doom, man. I want to check out Doom. Hey, you like Doom, right? That's cool. We could give you Doom for $5, or we'll give you all the original Dooms for $14. Really? That's interesting. Okay, add to wish list. Hey, I love Tomb Raider, original Tomb Raider. I want to check out Tomb Raider. How much is it? $10? Cool. Oh, yeah, we could give you Tomb Raider for $10, or give you all the Tomb Raiders for $40. Okay.
Welcome to Steam.
Like, okay, I see what you're getting at. Okay. And then this happened later on that night. I was on Xbox, and I was like, oh, I got The Witcher 2, man. I wish I could play The Witcher 1. Oh, wait. I can play The Witcher 1, can I? Let me go on Steam real quick. Witcher 1, Enhanced Edition, cool. Hey, my man, you want Witcher 1? We got you. But I could hook you up with all 3 Witchers for $30. Like, oh, man, are you fucking kidding me right now? So I get it. This shit is crack, man. I didn't spend any money. No, I didn't buy any games and stuff. I'm still on my shitty monitor. I need to plug it into my television. But, Brian, I get it. I understand now.
Yeah. So now you see why, like, half of us have like libraries of like over 100 games. It's so simple. And the worst thing is, yet, Tony, you haven't even seen the Humble Bundles yet. Or have you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That shit's gonna fuck.
Once you get to Humble Bundles, then your life is over. Like, they just bundle in like 7-8 games for like, pay what you want. Like, pay a minimum of like $20 and it's yours. It's like, what?
And then here's the thing, and here's the other great thing about having this new PC. I just opened up Steam right now without any hiccups. I want to tell you this, people. I'm going to count them. I have 10 games here, right? I didn't pay a cent because motherfuckers are giving me games.
I told you.
Dudes are giving me games. I got fucking got Bionic Commando, Bioshock Infinite, all the Doom games, Resident Evil 4, Tomb Raider with the Twez effects, and the first 2 Witchers. And I didn't pay a cent. Fucking crazy. And
hey, listen, people listened to me the last time, huh?
and I picked up fucking Need for Speed Most Wanted from Origin for free.
And this is for actual free, not PS Plus or Xbox free. It's actual free. You just don't pay for it. You just go, click yes, and it's yours.
Yeah, and then I want to combine that with this because on Sunday, out of all days, fucking Sunday, I had all these Xbox guys coming after me because fucking Crap Gamer comes at me, call me a pussy, right? So I had all these dudes coming at me, and I legit thought, I'm like, man, I should just leave this console shit behind and go to PC gaming. Fuck all this dumb shit. I have that option now. It's insane.
Here's the thing. You don't, number one, you don't even need to go away from console gaming. You just don't need to pay attention to anybody. You could just be like, well, if you start doing this bullshit, I don't need to say nothing to you.
Well, hey, listen, he called me a pussy. I'm not gonna let that shit stand.
Whatever. That fool don't know you. Who is this guy? Some idiot on the internet? Who cares about him?
Well, was the 20,000 Xbox fans obviously do.
Whatever. Come on, it don't mean nothing.
He called me a pussy. I wasn't gonna stand for that shit. But he was not the problem. It was his fucking little his army and shit coming after me. Whatever, that shit didn't faze me. I thought to me, I'm like, hey guys, look at what's going on my Twitter feed. You know how I always say Xbox guys are really horrible? Look at the shit that's going on now. Fucking proof of concept right there.
Yeah, I was telling you link that shit because previously you were just like, man, these Xbox guys, they're crazy, man, they're crazy. And I'm like, what, because I'm not seeing, I'm just seeing the tweet that you're saying they're crazy. I'm like, retweet some of this shit. Let me see this, and then you're like, look at this shit. You're like, oh shit.
So back to the PC thing. I mean, like, dude, I even said the same thing. But when you were actually talking to me on the phone about this, around the time when all this stuff was happening, and I was like, dude, you just got to be careful. Don't fall into the trap. I mean, if you're gonna get those games, fine, but make sure you can play those fucking games. Don't just sit on that shit.
Yeah, because
walk away.
Yeah, you know how PC gamers are. They have a million games and never play them.
Yeah, so like, listen, I have a computer that can perfectly play any one of those games that are out now, right? Really good and high resolution and all that shit. I try not to go to Steam too much because I know I will start buying stuff that I can't play at the time. Yeah.
And the reason I want to bring up Street Fighter, and this is the reason why that's gonna keep me tethered to fucking console gaming, and this is why I'm glad Riku's here, because he could understand. Because I have an option. I have options now. I can either get Street Fighter 5 for PC or PS4. You know that the PC version is gonna look fucking nice. It's gonna look legit. But what does PC lack that I have on PS4 that I've been getting for 5 fucking years now? Trophies.
What they do have is achievements.
Yeah, achievements.
And they actually equal up to something too.
Do they? Do you get like a platinum? Here's the thing. Let me finish. Xbox has achievements, right? There's no incentive for me to 100% a game. None. There's nothing to work towards.
You guys know better on Steam, but I think that your achievements in your Steam do actually do something.
Yeah, but the thing is, I'm not knocking that. My point is, I've been curating all these trophies for fucking years, half a decade. I can't let that go. So I gotta keep going. You
really don't feel rewarded, when you unlock these achievements on Steam. It's like it seems like the most insignificant thing when it pops up. It's like someone giving you like
he went there.
It's like someone giving you a participation trophy, like in the background, like, thank you for participating, go away. That's what it feels like.
That's some true shit.
Okay, hold on, Riku. Hold on, Riku. How many platinums do you have?
139.
39. Okay, cool. Do any of those platinums actually do shit? Just out of interest, like, do they unlock anything?
No, but I never wanted anything for my platinums. That's the funny thing. Everyone always thinks I wanted something for these. Like I deserve.
No. I'm just asking.
But no, they don't. They don't.
Would it be nice if like they rewarded you for getting the platinum? Because like on platinum, like relatively difficult to get.
It would be, but like I said, I'm just kidding.
Again, something.
But yes,
something small, like an avatar or background or something exclusive.
I think they do.
Show up.
They do give you. They recently started this also. They started to give away exclusive little backgrounds, and I know Bloodborne had one. They're actually starting to do that, but yeah, I see where you're getting at. Just something. I see where you're getting at. Yeah.
Reason I get platinums.
Oh, I'm not finished yet. Hold on. Sorry, BrokenGamezHD. I have to finish. That's like stage 1. Stage 2 is this. In Steam, you have trading cards. And like trading cards, you get them. There's usually about 8 or 7 per game, depending on the size of the game. And once you collect them all, you can build a badge. And this badge goes on your profile and says, hey, this person got all the trading cards in the game and got this badge. And also with this badge, you actually get points which level up your ranking. Again, like PlayStation does, which is fine. But the extra thing is that these badges come with icons that you unlock and backgrounds as well. So there's actually incentive to get trading cards. And of course, by their very nature, they are trading cards. So if you have more than one of one, you can trade with someone else and actually build a collection. And even better, you can actually sell these trading cards for cash and actually get them and actually get effectively cash back for your trading cards. So let's say that you got like 4 or 5 of the same one, and you're like, oh, okay, I don't need this one. So let's split them up for like 10 cents each. Boom, you just made like 50 cents. So you can actually get money back effectively.
That's cool. I do see potential in that, but like I said earlier, I never really looked for anything when I started to get my trophies, and when I do hear people like, oh, I wish I got like some sort of discount on PSN for my trophies, then I would start getting trophies. I'm like, So that's your motivation to getting those platinums for discounts. Why can't you just buy the game? I mean, you're kind of already getting a discount from PlayStation Plus. I don't see, I don't want to like play a shitty game just because I know I can get a discount in another game. I want to play a game that I really like and then get the platinum and move on to another game that I really like and get the platinum and and so on. But other people are just like, what's my motivation? What's this platinum gonna do for me in the future? Like, that's not me. But I do understand why how that can intrigue some people. And that system, that whole Steam system that they got going on there, that does sound interesting. But I think even if I was on Steam, I probably would. I don't know, man. I don't think I would even like. I'd probably just stay in my lane, get my stuff, and not really worry about all of that.
Yeah, Ken, what were you saying about platinums? Why do you get them?
I just get them because if it's like, you're completely done. There's nothing more. I see it as there's nothing more I can do in this game. I have no reason to come back to it. Like it's that comfort of knowing that you have nothing left to do. I'm done here. My work is done here, pretty much. I get them for games I actually care about though, and I like. I'm not gonna get a platinum in a game I don't like. That's just punishment, right? And if they have practical trophies, like I remember GTA 4 had the most unrealistic, unpractical trophies last generation. Just wild shit. Do 3 backflips into a pool while snorting cocaine in midair, some crazy shit.
By the way, it's funny you bring up GTA 4. That I got the platinum for that, right? There was one trophy in there. It was an online trophy. The shit was broken, right? Because you had to complete every online mode in there. There was like 100 online modes, right? Even more if you count every single individual race, right? Problem was, okay, on Xbox, it was fine. You play them as you normally would. On PlayStation, if you logged off, all your progress was gone. So for 3 nights straight, me and a couple boys, we sat there without turning our PS3s off to get this one fucking trophy. Like, we call it an honorary gold trophy. That's how hard it was. Fucking crazy, So yeah, GTA 4, that brings back like war memories for me, man. Getting that fucking platinum. But you're right though. I mean, you bring up a good point. It's like, they have to be fun to get, because to me the one that broke the camel's back was fucking Final Fantasy 13. I got that platinum too. I was sitting on that shit for 3 fucking weeks, grinding just to get one material that I needed to build the sword. But the thing is, that material only drops 1% of the time, so I had to keep beating the same monster over.
That sounds like some Demon Souls shit, man. The blades on Demon Souls.
So after that, I'm like, yo, okay, I'm not doing this shit anymore. But going on what you said, that's exactly why I love getting platinum. So it lets me know I am done with this game. I never need to play this again. It is over, because even if you have 99% of the game, it's like I'm not done with it yet. There's still.
I'm sitting here right now with this 98% in this Persona 4 Golden, man.
Man, I mean, sometimes you gotta let it go, but man, you just not nagging.
Here's when I let it go, because I do have another game sitting at 98%, and it's a Vita game, and this Vita game wanted you to get 4 other people because it doesn't have online. It wanted you to get 4 other people with Vitas to ad hoc party, play with them, and finish like couple co-op modes. I'm like, I'm never gonna find people around me that have this game with the Vita and have the shit unlocked ready to play co-op with me. And that's where I say, all right, this is kind of out of my reach.
Yeah. I gotta ask the obvious question, Ken. How many platinums you got?
Total?
Yeah.
Probably around it would be around 18, but not because I made a new PSN when the PS4 came out, just to have the same name as my YouTube channel. On my previous name, I had like 11 or 12. So and on this new one I made on the PS4, I've gotten like 6 or 7 so far. So it's around 18.
Okay.
I had one.
Count, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't even count that last name no more. I don't even remember what the password is anymore. So I don't really care about it. So I just started anew. But on the PS3, one game I did leave at 98%. was Dead Space 2. I needed
Oh God,
Man.
I know exactly which one you're talking about too.
He knows what it is, and it's ridiculous. I could have gotten it, but I just it would have required time and dedication. You had to beat the game on the hardest difficulty, and in this hardest difficulty, you could only save the game 3 total times.
Yeah.
So if
hardcore,
you
yeah.
died, Chapter 6, last time you saved was Chapter 2. You're going all the way back to Chapter 2. So it was ridiculous.
Chris, weren't you working toward that at some point?
Yeah, that's why I stopped. Exactly, you have to beat it on extreme mode. You only get 3 saves. And you have to strategically pick where to save.
Yeah, because this is 13 chapters in that game. You have to save at 3, 6, 11.
There was a guy,
and then go to the end, and then go from 11 to the end of the game. And 11 is like the longest chapter in the game. It's like if you speed run 11, it's gonna take you like 2 hours still.
Shit.
And I love the game though. Dead Space 2 is one of my favorite games.
Yeah, Dead Space is still freaking great.
I don't remember what the boss was, but I know the no I do. Wait, what was the boss?
That girl,
it was
that girl that was coming towards you, and then she's like she could one hit kill you.
Oh yeah. So, and if you got up to the end, you're probably gonna die at least once. So.
Oh yeah, dude, I died at 11. I died at 11. I was like, because I just finished. I was like, yes, I'm done with 11, and I made it to no, I died at 11 twice, and then I died at the beginning of the game, like because you got to go from the prologue to 3, and I died at like 2, so I had to go all the way back to the prologue. I was like, oh my god.
That's crazy.
I had a friend. He didn't save once. He got all the way to the end of the game, and at Dead Space 2, right after you beat the final boss, there's like this extra part that you have to like fly through like a tornado kind of thing.
Yeah.
He died there.
Oh man! He should have just saved. He should have did that one save. He should have did that one save before the end of the game.
He was like, "No, I'm gonna be the guy that didn't save one and beat the whole game." I was like,
see,
"We're not. No one's gonna know this. There's no trophy that says you can." Why are you doing? He's like, "Cause I want to do it." And then he died and he just gave up.
Nowadays you have your little. They have the little save state thing. You could just turn your console off and just continue where you left off.
The suspend and resume.
Yeah, suspend and resume.
Yeah, Dead Space 2, that was one, because I had gotten to Platinum in Dead Space 1, right? When I saw the trophy list, I'm like, nah, nope.
You know what's funny about that Dead Space 2 trophy? That actually made it more scarier. Because now you're not scared of, the game.
Yeah, you're scared
of dying. You're scared of dying. Like, everyone's scared of, like, oh, God, I'm scared of this never. I'm sitting here, oh, man, I do not want to lose, like, 2 fucking hours. Oh, God.
That shit became like Bloodborne, man. Shit.
Yeah, it did. It definitely brought that suspense. I was like, holy shit. I don't know if you have to do that in Dead Space 3 because I didn't play it yet. But
yeah, Dead Space 3 is a good game. A lot of people shit on it. I thought it was good, But yeah, that's the main reason why I'm still primarily going to be playing on consoles because I love trophies. That's important to me.
You should just do what a lot of people do, just like the major exclusives. Just hop back on here. Yeah.
So I guess I'll be playing Star Citizen, right, Brian? I have it on. It's an option now. Yeah. I mean, I don't even know what kind of game it is, but I have that option now, and that's like I love having a PS4, Xbox, and PC because everything is open to me now except Nintendo. But cares?
What is open anyway?
Yo, man, this moment is what we call a moment of hell freezing over. This guy go out there and be like, I'll never be playing PC games, blah, 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 blah. And now, look at this guy.
Yeah. I was playing Need for Speed last night on PC.
All I gotta say is never say never again.
I see that screenshot. I was like, "Whoa, Tony's playing Need for Speed Most Wanted on PC." Like, nah, I'm in the wrong dimension. Let me go back.
Yeah, I was not impressed by the game. Is good, but it just didn't seem any more special than it was on console. But
go back and play it on console. Trust me, because like when I went back and got my platinum, I was like, wow, this game actually looks worse than I remembered.
Whoa!
And like PS3 games actually look worse than I remembered, which is kind of bad because I have like 3 more to get. So I'm kind of.
Wow, yeah, because I'm playing the game. I'm like, I'm not impressed.
And just for the record, I'm throwing that out there just for comparison's sake. I have 11 platinums.
Nice.
I just thought I'd throw that out there. Guy has like over 1,300 hours on Warframe, has 11 platinums.
You could have got more platinums if you played less Warframe.
I actually could as well.
Yeah, I heard Warframe's still doing some good stuff over there with their Sinwukong.
Anyway, since we're on that topic, Manny, how many platinums do you have?
I think it's like 20-something.
Nice.
I can't remember. I'd have to look at it. I don't look at it as much.
Yeah, and Chris, do you remember how many you have?
No, I don't remember. I'd have to look it up.
I'm gonna look it up, but I know you got fucking the Demon Soul. Like you got all the platinums for all those games, right? You got all the platinums for.
Demon and Dark Souls, not Dark Souls 2 though.
Yeah.
Bloodborne, I got the platinum. Demon Souls, I got the platinum. That took forever. I know Rico's talking about grinding, man.
Yeah, the Blaze Stone. Fuck, man.
Oh, okay. So what I have is 22 platinums right now.
Nice.
And if I get the one in Bloodborne, I'll have 23. I only have one more to go.
Yeah. The only thing that sucks about a platinum is that I got the platinum in Metal Gear, right? And I was like, I kind of want to play Metal Gear, but there's absolutely no reason for me to play this shit.
You can babysit your FOB or develop all the guns.
The only time I see myself still playing a game I have a platinum to is a game that has a really good competitive mode to it. Like, I really enjoy the Uncharted competitive modes after I have them. Because I usually get the platinums in Uncharted games like a week and a half after the game is out. So I still stick around and play the multiplayer. So that's really the only time I see myself sticking around, or DLC.
Hey, Chris, you got 5 platinums. You got to step your game up, man.
Oh, that's it? Okay. That's
I thought you had more. I thought
Chris has a higher level than we do because he's played a lot more games.
Yes, but the thing is, remember the platinums he does have. They're not easy games. Respect. All right, so that's pretty much it. So, Ken, man, thank you for being on, bro.
Yeah, man. Glad to be on.
Yeah, plug your shit, please. Where can people find you?
On my channel, of course, BrokenGamezHD. Weapon World Podcast is at Saturday. Saturdays at 6 p.m. usually. I know I do everything, gameplay and everything like that, reviews, live commentaries. Gonna have the first game developer on the Weapon World Podcast this Saturday. So
nice.
That.
Moving on up, man. That's great to hear, and obviously, I'm gonna have all the descriptions and everything at the bottom and stuff so people can check out because you really do create great content out there. No bullshit either, which I appreciate. You ain't kissing anybody's ass. We need more of that out there.
Yeah, definitely appreciate it. Weapon Wheel is it's definitely it gets a little crazy sometimes. It's more of a bar cast, I would say. Like bunch of people, like it's like if you or your friends went to a bar but y'all was talking about video games. That's how it gets in there. So
yeah, definitely has that vibe, but that's what makes it fun.
Yeah.
You guys aren't like kissing ass, which is always appreciated. And so Rico, what's your next platinum?
After Persona 4 Golden?
After Persona.
Oh fuck. I'm gonna have to check.
Agenda,
Well, apparently, it's supposed to be Dinosaurs 8 Empires, and then it's supposed to be Gravity Rush. It was supposed to be Gravity Rush.
Gravity Rush is close to a 10-hour game, so you could do it quick.
I could, but fuck. I might switch that around because I know the freaking Gravity Rush PS4 version just fucking came out, and then I was like, hey, Rico, what the fuck are you doing playing the PS Vita version? Like, well, it is what it is. It took me...
I'm laughing for a whole different reason because you're like, I'm like, what's your next platinum? You're like, oh, a dinosaur. I'm like, dinosaur. Oh, that's how we say dynasty. You always say it like dinosaur.
Sorry. Gravity Rush, man.
What about that Monster Hunter, man?
Monster Hunter, I have no clue. Well, we don't even have that.
I gotta bust your chops, man.
Yeah. But yeah, I want to see what all these people think of Gravity Rush when it comes out for PS4. Is it supposed to come out?
It's actually out already. A lot of people.
Already out, baby.
Here's an interesting thing. Gravity Rush got decent ratings, but people seem to be a bit more receptive to it this time around.
I heard.
Which is interesting. Like a lot of people there was actually quite a bit more complaints about it the first time when it came out on Vita, but now it's. I mean, obviously, there's still some of the things that people have issues with, but they're a little bit more lenient this time around because I guess the the job that Bluepoint did on the game was actually really good. They actually did a really nice job of HDing it up and making it look a little more next gen than it actually was.
Yeah, remember, this was the first time people got to play Gravity Rush.
Which amazes me because that shit was free for a fucking year.
They didn't have no Vitas, though.
No, nobody cares about the Vita.
Yeah, and then obviously, you know, if you want more Riku action, you can always check them out on Otanime, which we will have a new episode for you guys tomorrow. And quick, Riku, what are we talking about tomorrow?
We are talking about Code Geass. We are also having a special guest from the YouTube anime community. He goes by the phone 999. He's been around for a while, so he's kind of like, I wouldn't consider him the BG of the anime side of YouTube, but he's up there. He's up there. So that's gonna be an interesting show.
Yeah, it's gonna be good, man. Ooh, can't wait. Otanime. All right, so let's wrap this shit up. Thank you for watching and listening. Make sure to follow the Coalition at thecoalition.com. Subscribe to Throwdown on SoundCloud, iTunes, and YouTube. Don't forget to leave us some reviews on iTunes. We appreciate that. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Throwdown Show and on Facebook. Links are available in the description below. Once again, our show is Tony Polanco, and tonight is joined by Emilio Lopez.
No crazy comments this time. See you later.
Chris Seeley.
Hey, take care, everyone.
Brian Munjoma.
I really need to stop playing Warframe as soon as possible.
Hit that 2,000 hours and then stop playing.
Yeah, there you go. Hit that milestone, motherfucker. And, of course, Michael Crawford, a.k.a. Riku's son 1, the only one.
Peace out, little niggas.
All right, guys. We'll see you next time. Later.
Later.
Later, guys.